Chapter 1401 The Eternal and Immortal Body, the Ultimate Realm. The Holy Soul is the ultimate pursuit of the ancestors of the Supreme Domain. The ancestors of the Supreme Domain on the top 10 Holy Gates and the 4-star kings of the Ghost Fox organization, their pursuit is to condense the Holy Soul. But in fact, how many people can condense the Holy Soul? I don't know how many ancestors of the strong domain have been practicing for endless years, and they are almost on the verge of falling into the devil. Even if he didn't fall, it was only after endless years of despair that he gave up this idea and chose to hit the invincible domain ancestor realm and give up condensing the Holy Soul. Therefore, there are too few people who can condense holy souls among the ancestors of the strong domain. After all, the saints only have an advantage in the cultivation of sacred skills, but they have no advantage in condensing the sacred soul. Every genius who can condense the holy soul at the level of the supreme domain ancestor, after becoming the invincible domain ancestor, is not weaker than the holy gifted person, and even surpasses the ordinary holy gifted person. Yi Tian also did not expect that the Ghost Fox organization still has such a talented person. This pressure is interesting. Yi Tian smiled, without the slightest panic. Laugh. Qingyang Yuzu frowned. There might be some unexpected things, so he didn't want to waste time. Immediately, the ancestors of the Qingyang domain motivated the projection sword of the Taichin sword. The Taichin sword is not an ordinary holy relic, but a powerful holy relic that ranks in the top 100 holy relics list. Even the projection sword, its formidable power is comparable to the holy relics ranked within 1000 on the holy relic list. What's more, the projection of the Taichin sword can break out a terrifying blow, enough to kill some powerful invincible ancestors. Boom! The golden Taichin sword emerged from the body of the ancestor of the Qingyang domain, like a huge sword of 10,000 feet, the coercion shocked the endless territory. This is Taichin sword. No, it's not the real Taichin sword, it's the projection sword of the Taichin sword. Yi Tian was surprised. This kind of projection is similar to the projection of the War Realm Tower in the Xuanshu Holy Realm, and it is actually a physical sword that can exist alone. Basically, the top 100 sacred objects on the sacred object list can cultivate a projection object by using some special secret techniques and paying some price. For example, Yi Tian's Genesis Primordial Well, if he knows the secret technique of cultivating projection objects, after paying some price, he can also create a projection version of the Genesis Primordial Well. It's a pity that he doesn't know that kind of secret technique, and he won't create that kind of sacred artifact projection because it's not necessary. Even after it was created, he didn't dare to use it, for fear that the secrets of the primordial well of creation would be leaked. At that time, it would not attract some supreme ancestors, but supreme ancestors, or even the first ancestors. The appearance of the Taichin sword projection sword did make Yi Tian feel the real crisis. At this moment, Yi Tian used the holy skill of time fragment. He wants a glimpse into the future, otherwise it is easy to fall into trouble. Click. A corner of the future appeared in Yi Tian's sight. In the future picture, Yi Tian did not avoid the attack of the Taichin sword, and even the eternal holy skill did not freeze the Taichin sword. With this sword, he struggled with the means, but he was still severely injured. A projection sacred object like the Taichin sword can only be used once in a short period of time by the ancestors of the Qingyang region. Yi Tian was going to escape into the depths of the void to heal his injuries, and when his injuries recovered, he immediately fought against the ancestors of the Qingyang region again. But just when he was about to escape into the depths of the void, Qingyang Yuzu exuded a gray light, and the light turned into a small knife, instantly piercing his body. Then, the gray light wiped out his soul, and the connection was strictly hidden, crossing the endless dark forbidden area, and smashing to the unknown place. That place is Xuanshu Holy Realm. Yi Tian was very surprised. This future corner showed the scene of him being bombarded. Of course, this future corner is not fixed, it is just a scene that is most likely to happen without intervention. That is the holy skill of cause and effect, fruitless destruction. Yi Tian was surprised. Karma holy skills are very rare. Although Yi Tian possesses many holy gifts, he does not have any karma holy gifts, so he did not try to cultivate any karma holy skills. Moreover, karma holy skills are not so easy to cultivate, it is too difficult to get started. In the absence of the holy gift of karma, even the invincible domain ancestor would have difficulty cultivating a holy skill of karma to the entry or minor level. The ancestor of the Qingyang region actually knows the holy skill of karma, and the holy skill of karma is probably cultivated to the realm of great achievement. It seems that he must have an amazing chance. Yi Tian thought. From the future picture, when the ancestors of the Qingyang domain broke out with all their strength, the holy soul appeared. Holy Soul, the sword of Taichin sword projection, coupled with the holy skill of karma, fruitless destruction, finally killed his copy body, and attacked his body from the air. Although separated by a long territory, the power of the karma holy skill is weaker, and his body has the protection of the Xuanshu holy world and the creation of the primordial well. Yuan Jingge kills him, but can hurt him. In addition, his replica body must have fallen. But the premise of all this is that Yi Tian doesn't know the plan of Qingyang Yuzu, but now that he knows, it is a little difficult for Qingyang Yuzu to kill him. Yi Tian is very clear that his strength cannot compete with the ancestors of Qingyang. No matter how evil he is, he has to admit that his strength is far inferior to that of the ancestors of Qingyang. Therefore, he must complete a breakthrough before he can compete with the ancestors of the Qingyang region, and even kill the ancestors of the Qingyang region. Then break through. Yi Tian muttered, "Eternal and indestructible Eucharist, break it for me." Yi Tian's body suddenly shattered, the endless power of the Forbidden Avenue sheltered Yi Tian, and the endless rules rippled, allowing Yi Tian's body to undergo a perfect transformation. At this moment, his body reorganized little by little. This Wang's Jiao is the breakthrough of breaking and then standing. And this process cannot be interrupted at all. The ancestors of Qingyang Yu could only watch Yi Tian break through, and there was nothing he could do. This is the eternal and indestructible holy body, which is hitting the limit realm. The ancestor of the Qingyang region did not know much about the eternal and indestructible holy body, only that it was the first holy body of the dark sanctuary. It shouldn't increase my strength too much, I should still be able to kill him. The ancestor of the Qingyang region murmured in his heart. However, his confidence suddenly dropped a lot. Even though he told himself that he could kill Yi Tian, his body was a little nervous. Soon, Yi Tian has completely completed the breakthrough, the body has already completed the qualitative change, and has completely reached the limit state of the eternal and indestructible holy body. It was at this time that Yi Tian really understood why the eternal and immortal Eucharist was called the first Eucharist. Chapter 1402. The situation is reversed. Yi Tian is so terrifying. The power of eternity. Yi Tian was enlightened. Once the eternal and indestructible Eucharist has been raised to the limit, the eternal power will be born. The power of eternity can make Yi Tian have more powerful explosive power, and he can make Yi Tian's defense power reach a terrifying level, which can be called eternal defense. In a word, once possessing the power of eternity, Yi Tian would find it difficult to fall. After the eternal indestructible holy body breakthrough, Yi Tian's strength was much stronger than in the past. At this time, since Yi Tian had just broken through, his breath had not been able to completely converge, and his breath had reached an incomparably terrifying level, which surprised the ancestors of the Qingyang region. It's just that the holy body has broken through to the limit state, how can the aura skyrocket so much? Qingyang Yuzu was dumbfounded. Do not care. Qingyang Yuzu continued to urge the sword of the Taichin sword projection, aimed at Yi Tian, and exploded with a full blow. The power of this blow even carries the power of the Holy Spirit. I saw that the holy soul of the ancestor of Qingyang Yu merged with the body, turned into a giant, and pierced with a sword of projection of the Taichin sword. This sword shattered time and space, enough to annihilate everything. But Yi Tian is not afraid at all. Golden body holy skill. Holy armor holy skill. The power of eternity. Layers of defenses are superimposed to form a thick cover of eternal 607. Boom. The sword of Taichin sword projection descended and stabbed Yi Tian's eternal hood. The ancestor of Wanfeiyu can never stop the sword of Taichin sword projection. The ancestor of the bird war domain in the distance said coldly. The secret blood gang domain ancestor was also a little nervous, but he couldn't help Yi Tian. If it wasn't for Yi Tian's real body, otherwise he would really panic. In the eyes of Zanmen, Yi Tian's talent has been recognized by all the high-level officials, and his future achievements are very high, and he has a great possibility to reach the supreme level domain ancestor level. There is no shortage of invincible domain ancestors in the War Gate, but only the invincible domain ancestors are lacking. Whether it is in the Dark Sanctuary or in the Dark Destruction domain, the supreme ancestors are very rare, and they are the real top existences. Therefore, in the eyes of Zanmen, one Yi Tian is more precious than 10,000 top-level supreme ancestors. If Yi Tian falls, the loss of the battle gate will be huge. Fortunately, it is a clone. If Yi Tian's real body rises, it is impossible for the war sect to allow Yi Tian to challenge the Ghost Fox organization like this. Of course, the ancestors of the Blood Gangland did not want this clone of Yi Tian to fall here, otherwise it would leave Yi Tian with a knot in his heart. I hope Wanfeiyu can resist this blow. The Blood Gang Domain ancestor murmured, CJFI. Under the eyes of the public, the sword of the Taichan sword projection collided with the hood of eternity. Click. The hood of eternity cracked a gap, but only a gap was cracked, but the hood of eternity did not shatter. Blocked. Yi Tian breathed a sigh of relief. Although he used the time fragment holy skill to spy on the future picture just now, he also knew that the hood of eternity could block the sword of the Taichan sword projection. But at this moment, when it was really blocked, he breathed a sigh of relief. How could it be blocked? This is the full blow of the sword of Taichan sword projection. The ancestor of Qingyang Yu was stunned. He also planned to severely injure Yi Tian with one sword, or after beheading Yi Tian, he would instantly use the causal holy skill of fruitless destruction to kill Yi Tian's body across the endless frontier. Unexpectedly, the full power of the projection sword of the Taichan sword did not inflict heavy damage on Yi Tian, and the fruitless destruction holy technique would not be able to kill Yi Tian, let alone kill Yi Tian's body. You just attacked me, it's my turn. Yi Tian sneered. At this moment, Qingyang Yuzu felt the crisis, and it was still a crisis of death. Not good. The ancestors of the Qingyang region were shocked. Immediately, he wanted to escape. After all, he has already condensed the holy soul. If it wasn't for the Zanyu ancestor to come to him, after he stabilized the holy soul realm he just broke through, he would go to the invincible realm of the ancestor. Once he has reached the realm of the invincible domain ancestors, and has obtained a sacred endowment that is most suitable for him, he can practice a sacred skill that is most suitable for him, and then cultivate the sacred skill to the perfect state, or even the limit state. In that case, his strength will reach a terrifying level, and after a few years, he may be able to reach the level of the 10 emperors of the Ghost Fox organization, not weaker than the ancestors of the Sparrow War territory. Therefore, he did not want to die, at least not in this meaningless battle. He, with an infinite future, how could he die here? At this moment, he regrets it. If I had known this earlier, I should have answered the network service. With his status and the aptitude for condensing the holy soul, even if he refuses, Zanyu is angry and will not do anything to him. After all, he has hit the invincible domain ancestor realm and will be one of the 10 emperors in the future. Can the bird war domain ancestor help him? Cannot. Therefore, even if he refuses, he will only be punished at the moment, which has little effect on him. Quick, rush into the Lei Dao branch, Wanfa Yuzu has no way to kill it. Qingyang Domain Ancestral Road. Escape. Yi Tian sneered and cast the 5 elements ban. After the strength increased greatly, Yi Tian's 5 elements ban was terrifying many times, and he blocked the void at once, making it difficult for the ancestors of Qingyang to break the blockade. If he can continue to use the sword of the Taichan sword projection, he may be able to tear the ban on the 5 elements with one sword. But right now, he can't continue to cast the sword of Taichan sword projection. Eternal holy skill. Yi Tian fixed the time, and also fixed the Qingyang domain ancestor. Then, Yi Tian exerted his full power to use the void slashing holy technique. Puff. The virtual slashing technique bombarded the ancestors of Qingyang. At this time, Qingyang Yuzu finally broke through the eternal holy skill and woke up, but he couldn't avoid Yi Tian's virtual slashing holy skill. Bang! The ancestor of Qingyang Yu was directly knocked into the air, and the power of the virtual slash penetrated into his body, injuring him, and the injury was not light. If it was before, Yi Tian's virtual slashing technique would not be able to hurt the ancestors of Qingyang. Yi Tian's blow could hurt the ancestors of the Qingyang domain, which meant that the ancestors of the Qingyang domain were in danger. Next, Yi Tian went all out, and a series of holy skills were displayed. Although the same holy skill cannot be uninterruptedly displayed, the continuous use of different holy skills does not affect it. Under the fierce bombardment of each holy skill, Qingyang Yuzu was stunned, and his injuries became more and more serious, but his counterattack could not hurt Yi Tian. In this way, Qingyang Yuzu's injury gradually approached serious damage. According to such rules, the ancestors of Qingyang region are afraid to fall. Wow! An invincible ancestor's breath appeared, and it was very terrifying, stronger than the breath of the Blood Gang ancestor. He is the ancestor of the Sparrow War territory of the Ghost Fox organization. As soon as the ancestor of the Bird War territory appeared, the ancestor of the Blood Gang territory also appeared. He was afraid that the ancestor of the Bird Battle territory would attack Yi Tian. In terms of strength, Blood Gang Yuzu is indeed not the opponent of Kazan Yuzu, and there is even a certain probability that he will be killed by the opponent, but he must also stand up. This is the task given to him by the superior domain ancestors. Kazan Yuzu, what are you doing? The ancestor of the Blood Gang domain stopped the ancestor of the Bird War domain and asked. Chapter 1403 The No Superior Domain Ancestor appears. Our Ghost Fox organization admits defeat, and the challenge is over. The ancestor of the Bird War domain said angrily. I'm sorry, the challenge can't be ended casually. Blood Gang Yuzu shook his head. Besides, whether the challenge is over or not, I have no right to decide, that is the matter of Wanfa Yuzu. Keizan Yuzu looked at Yi Tian. Wanfa Yuzu, end the challenge immediately. The reason why he ended the challenge so urgently was because the ancestors of the Qingyang region were in danger. The ancestor of the Qingyang domain condensed the Holy Soul, a Holy Soul level supreme domain ancestor, which is too important for the Ghost Fox organization. Even if he was unhappy with the ancestors of Qingyang, he definitely did not dare to kill a Holy Soul level supreme ancestor, otherwise, once the leader became angry, he would not be able to bear the anger. Therefore, the ancestors of the Qingyang region could not fall. Yi Tian heard the message from the Keizanyuzu, but he ignored it. He didn't even stagnate for a moment. He was still attacking the Keizanyuzu, vowing to kill the Keizanyuzu. As time went by, Keizanyu's injury became more and more serious. At this moment, Keizanyuzu once again urged the sword of Taichin sword projection, but he still failed to break through Yi Tian's eternal shroud. He even used the Karma Holy technique to no avail, but he couldn't hurt Yi Tian either. The holy skill of Karma is very effective for people whose strength is lower than oneself, and can even ignore the distance between the clone and the main body, and directly kill the main body. But if the opponent's strength is stronger than his own, the Karma Holy skills are useless. Therefore, the Karma Holy skill is also called the most tasteless and the most terrifying holy skill. Seeing that Qingyang Yuzu was about to be unable to support it, Keizan Yuzu was also very nervous. But he didn't dare to do it. If he did, he could instantly rescue the ancestors of Qingyang, and even the ancestors of Blood Gang could not stop him. However, once he did, Zonman had a reason to do it. Perhaps Zonman will not destroy the Ghost Fox organization, but it is not difficult to kill such an invincible ancestor. The ancestor of the Bird War domain, save me. Qingyang Yuzu asked for help. You asked me to take action. Now I'm in danger, you can't die without saving me, and I've gathered a holy soul, and the leader will keep me if he knows it. However, no matter how Qingyang Yuzu asked for help, Keizanyu did not dare to take action. Ancestor of Qingyang region, hold on a little longer, the leader is coming soon. The ancestral way of the Bird War domain. He had already sent the message to the leader, and the leader learned that the ancestor of Qingyang Yu had condensed the Holy Soul, and now he has arrived. He didn't dare to take action, but if the leader took action to save the ancestors of Qingyang Yu, even Zonman would not kill their leader. Unexpected. A depressing breath descended. At this time, the Blood Gang domain ancestor's face was extremely heavy. Did he come? The ancestor of the Blood Gang territory was shocked. This so-called he is the leader of the Ghost Fox organization, the Ghost Fox Emperor. Ghost Fox Emperor ancestor can also be regarded as a legendary existence, and his strength is very powerful. Although he can't be regarded as a more heaven-defying one among the supreme-level domain ancestors, he has been promoted to the supreme-level domain ancestor for a long time. Rumor has it that he is one of the descendants of the first ancestor, but he does not possess holy gifts. There is a certain chance that the ancestors of the supreme domain and the descendants of the ancestors will give birth to the descendants of saints, but it is more difficult for the ancestors to give birth to descendants. The Ghost Fox Emperor ancestor was not born at the ancestor realm, but was one of the many descendants born at the level of his supreme ancestor. Of course, this is a rumor, and its authenticity cannot be investigated. The Blood Gang ancestors have never seen this Ghost Fox Emperor. After all, everyone's circle is different. The Ghost Fox Emperor's circle is also the circle of the Supreme Domain Ancestor, while the Blood Gang Ancestor's circle is limited to the Invincible Domain Ancestor. Therefore, he had never seen the Ghost Fox Emperor. But now, a supreme-level Domain Ancestor has come, and his breath is very unfamiliar, not the Ghost Fox Emperor. Who is it? Click. The void split open, and a man with a strange appearance came out of the void. He ignored the ancestors of the Blood Gang territory, but looked at Yi Tian. Just a glance, Yi Tian seemed to be frozen. At this moment, the ancestors of the Blood Gangster can't help much. This is the end of the battle. Ghost Fox Emperor Ancestor said. No, Yi Tian refused. You dare to resist me? Ghost Fox Emperor Ancestor sneered. So what? Yi Tian said. He is not afraid of the Ghost Fox Emperor, not to mention that there is a war gate standing behind him. Just because he is not the body now, he is not a false Ghost Fox Emperor. The Ghost Fox Emperor didn't have the talent for karma, so he shouldn't have the holy skill of karma, so the Ghost Fox Emperor couldn't kill him either. Unless Gaihu Emperor Ancestor personally ran to Xuanshu Holy Realm to kill him, in that case, Zanman would not be able to ignore it. Therefore, he is confident. For flowers, you are very courageous, do you think I dare not kill you? Even if I do kill you, Zanman will not care. Do you believe it or not? Ghost Fox Emperor Ancestor coldly threatened. Ghost Fox, we don't care about the war. A figure came. Then, a figure appeared, and it was one of the vice sect masters of the war sect that Yi Tian had seen before, the unparalleled domain ancestor, the fire pattern war ancestry. Haowen Zanzu, you won't go to the original ancestor realm. The Ghost Fox Emperor frowned, then smiled. It turns out to be a clone. Your clone is only 1/3 of the body. It's just combat power. I didn't expect you to even split a clone to protect this little guy when your main body entered the primitive war world. It seems that your war gate really values him. Unfortunately, you only came here as a clone. Could it be you still want to use a clone to compete with me? Point 0. Ghost Fox Emperor Ancestor, if it wasn't for your father's sake, what kind of thing do you think you are? Haowen Zanzu was disdainful. The words of the fire mark Zanzu also confirmed that the Ghost Fox Emperor was indeed the son of the first ancestor. At this moment, the rumors are no longer rumors, but facts. Fire mark Zanzu, do you want to fight with me? Ghost Fox Emperor asked. If you dare to intervene, I will dare to do it, even if it is just a clone, it will not be a problem to suppress you. Haowen Zanzu said disdainfully. HMPH, who wouldn't speak big words? Although you and I have never fought against each other, I have been famous for longer than you. You are only the weakest one of the 13 deputy sect masters of the war sect, and you are not the only one who has a clone. My opponent, the Ghost Fox Emperor said coldly. The ignorant or fearless? Fire mark Zanzu shot. Before he made his move, he instantly moved Yi Tian and Shuigong Yuzu away. And the Ghost Fox Emperor also moved the domain ancestors of the Ghost Fox organization, otherwise the killing of the superior domain ancestors would easily spread to other domain ancestors, causing other domain ancestors to instantly annihilate and die. Boom! The auras of the two supreme domain ancestors permeated, and the entire sea was turbulent, and countless domain ancestors were terrified and stayed away from this area, so as not to be affected by the killing of the supreme domain ancestors. Although Yi Tian and the others were moved away, they still watched the battle from a long distance. Yi Tian is also very curious, what is the battle of the Supreme Domain Ancestor, and how terrifying is the Supreme Domain Ancestor? And this time, it is an opportunity. Chapter 1404 Ancestral Skills. Boom! Ghost Fox Emperor Ancestor turned into countless afterimages, each with a certain attack, and countless afterimages slashed at Fire Mark Zanzu with a black knife. Exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark. Countless voids shattered, and the power of this blow reached an incomparably terrifying level. I was afraid that tens of thousands of invincible domain ancestors would be killed in an instant. This is the attack power of the Ghost Fox Emperor. However, Fire Mark Zanzu was very calm. A fire red cover appeared on his body, and there were mysterious lines on the red cover. As soon as the fire red hood came out, no matter how the Ghost Fox Emperor Ancestor attacked, the Fire Mark War Ancestor would not be able to do anything. If you don't break the defense, it's embarrassing. Impossible. The Ghost Fox Emperor was hit and couldn't believe this scene. When he thought about it, he thought that his strength was not weaker than that of the Fire Mark Emperor Ancestor, and he couldn't even beat the 607 clones of the Fire Mark War Ancestor. He didn't believe it. Taichin Sword. Ghost Fox Emperor Ancestor called out this sacred object, which is the top 100 sacred object on the list of sacred objects, and its power is extremely terrifying. As soon as the Taichin Sword came out, the Ghost Fox Emperor's momentum skyrocketed. Taichin Sword, you even used it. It seems that you are really going to fight, then don't blame me for not giving your father face. Fire Mark Zanzu is serious. I saw that the Fire Mark War Ancestor had turned into a terrifying giant standing on the Sea of Huahai, as if it was the size of a domain, and its breath had reached a terrifying level. Immediately, the Fire Mark Zanzu pointed a finger towards the Ghost Fox Emperor. The Ghost Fox Emperor also held the Taichin Sword and stabbed towards the Fire Mark Zanzu, and the Taichin Sword collided with a finger of the Fire Mark Zanzu. In the next instant, the Taichin Sword of the Ghost Fox Emperor collapsed and flew away, and the Ghost Fox Emperor Ancestor was also knocked out of the unknown territory, and was about to be shot out of the Sea of Hai. At this time, the Ghost Fox Emperor kept coughing up blood, and his whole body began to crack. This kind of injury was not a minor injury to him, but a rather serious injury. Ancestral skills, impossible, how can you master the ancestor skills? The Ghost Fox Emperor roared. At this time, the Fire Mark War Ancestor returned to its original state, stepped across the void, came to the Ghost Fox Emperor Ancestor, and said, "Is it strange that I practiced ancestral skills? Although you became the Supreme Domain Ancestor earlier than me, however, you have never entered the Holy Gate, you do not know the background of the Holy Gate, and you do not know the Supreme Ancestor of the Holy Gate. It is far from being comparable to the Supreme Ancestor of a loose cultivator like you. If you completely accept your father's cultivation, today maybe you are still qualified to fight me, but unfortunately you gave up all this and chose to cultivate yourself, and you still think you are very powerful, but you don't know that other Supreme Ancestors are unwilling to fight with you, and you don't want to offend your father. You win," Ghost Fox Emperor Ancestor said lonely. The Fire Mark Emperor Ancestor has mastered the ancestral skills, and he can't win the Fire Mark War Ancestor no matter what, unless he is far superior to the Fire Mark Emperor Ancestor in other aspects, but that is not realistic at all. Make an oath, from today onwards, you are not allowed to target the ancestors of Wanvayu, and the Ghost Fox organization needs to make compensation. How about an ice crystal snow lotus fruit? Fire Pattern Battle Ancestors. It is good. The Ghost Fox Emperor gritted his teeth. It is nothing to him to make an oath not to target Wanfayuzu, but if he loses one ice crystal snow lotus fruit, the loss will be huge. An ice crystal snow lotus fruit can completely create an invincible domain ancestor, and the effect is many times more precious than the soul holy world flower. Not much help. Moreover, the Ghost Fox organization has lost several 4-star kings this time. It can be said that the Ghost Fox organization suffered heavy losses this time. Wow, Yi Tian was moved over and appeared in front of Ghost Fox Emperor Ancestor. At this time, the Ghost Fox Emperor made an oath, and after dropping an ice crystal snow lotus fruit, it disappeared instantly. The ancestor of Wanfayu, this is the ice crystal snow lotus fruit of the Ghost Fox Emperor. It was a chance he once obtained in a treasure land. Now it is estimated that there are only a few of them. If he loses one, he is afraid that he will feel distressed for a long time. Fire Mark Zanzu said with a smile. Thank you, Lord Fire Mark Zanzu. Yi Tian said gratefully. Immediately, Yi Tian accepted the ice crystal Yukon fruit. Lord Fire Mark Zanzu, wasn't the holy skill you performed just now? Yi Tian asked curiously. He is very familiar with holy skills. After all, he has practiced many holy skills, and he has cultivated them to the limit one by one. He can detect any unfamiliar holy skills. But the method that Fire Mark Zanzu used was definitely not a holy skill, but it was much stronger than a holy skill, and it must be something that surpassed the holy skill. But about the things above the holy skills, he doesn't understand, and the war door can't find it. In fact, many secrets about the ancestors of the Supreme Domain and above are not allowed to be spread, and it is difficult to know unless you personally learn from the ancestors of the Supreme Domain. The Fire Mark War Ancestor was silent for a while, and then he said, "It's okay, I can tell you, that's the ancestral skill that surpasses the holy skill. Among the Supreme level domain ancestors, there are relatively few who can practice ancestor skills. What conditions do you need to practice ancestral skills? Could it be that you still need ancestral gifts?" Yi Tian asked curiously. What kind of ancestry is there? The sacred gift is the highest talent. The Fire Mark Zanzu said with a smile. The ancestors can easily practice the ancestral skills. If the ancestors under the ancestors want to practice the ancestral skills, there are only two ways. One is to break the shackles of the sacred skills of the extreme realm. In that case, the sacred skills will be transformed into ancestral skills. The second method is to completely master an ancestor pattern. A complete ancestral road is divided into 3,000 ancestral lines, which is true for any ancestral road, and a complete ancestral law can connect 3,000 ancestral lines to become a complete ancestral road. If we these supreme ancestors do not have the ancestor method, it is difficult to hit the ancestors, but there is hope to master an ancestor pattern. Through the ancestor pattern, we can practice the corresponding ancestor skills, thereby practicing ancestor skills. Of course, it's easy to say, but it's too difficult to practice. Even I have practiced for a long time before I mastered this ancestral skill. I want to get an ancestral skill from 5.8 War Gate. What should I do? Yi Tian was curious about the ancestral skills. After all, he has already cultivated holy skills to the extreme, and naturally longs for ancestral skills. Wait for your invincible domain ancestor to say, "Now for you, the ancestor skill." The Fire Mark Zanzu didn't say anything, but left. Invincible domain ancestor. Yi Tian muttered to himself. Immediately, he also let go of the ancestral skills. After all, the most important thing for him now is to condense the Holy Soul, not to cultivate any ancestral skills. Even if he really acquired the ancestral skill, he didn't know how many years it would take to cultivate the ancestral skill. Therefore, at present, when he obtained an ancestral skill, it would delay his cultivation, so the Fire Mark War ancestor did not tell him, lest he delay himself. Wow! Yi Tian also left Huahai and returned to Zanzu realm. Chapter 1405 The Holy Light of the Soul is Rising. After Yi Tian returned to the Zanzu realm, his body began to impact the ultimate realm of the eternal and indestructible holy body. Copying the body has raised the eternal and indestructible holy body to the limit, and it is naturally countless times simpler for the main body to elevate the eternal and indestructible to the limit. So as soon as he heard the main body, he began to impact the ultimate realm of the eternal and indestructible holy body, and it didn't take long for the shackles to be broken. Human world. Yi Tian had already raised the eternal indestructible holy body to the limit state at this time, and then he went into seclusion again. Although he has cultivated the eternal and indestructible holy body to the limit, he still needs to stabilize this state. If it is not properly stabilized, then there will be some problems with the foundation of the eternal and indestructible holy body. Before he broke through to this realm in battle, not only did he not consolidate in time, but he also kept fighting with the ancestors of Qingyang, resulting in eternal immortality. Something went wrong with the Eucharist. However, it is a copy of the body, it doesn't matter how much tossing, but the main body can't be tossed. In the blink of an eye, tens of thousands of years have passed. At this time Yi Tian has completely stabilized the eternal 29 indestructible holy body. The eternal and indestructible holy body has been stabilized, and it is time for the replica body to hand over the ice crystal snow lotus fruit to the main body. However, Yi Tian's cloned body is not going to return to the Xuanxu sacred realm. He wants to keep this cloned body in the Zanzu realm for cultivation. How to give the ice crystal snow lotus fruit to the main body without returning to the Xuanxu holy realm after copying the body? Yi Tian has already thought of a way, that is to enter the War Realm Tower. The Zanji Pagoda can connect the dark sacred domain and the Xuanxu sacred realm. As long as Yi Tian's duplicate body and the main body enter the Zanji Pagoda at the same time, they can see each other, so that the ice crystal snow lotus fruit can be handed over to the main body. Next, Yi Tian went to the Zanji Tower. The Zanji Tower is not in the Zanzu realm, because too many practitioners in the Dark Sanctuary need to enter the Zanji Tower. Ancestral world, let countless outsiders enter. The Zanji Tower is set up in a giant city far away from the Zanzu realm. This giant city is called Zanji City and belongs to the Zanmen. Zanji City does not belong to city-level forces, it is just a city dedicated to exchanges and transactions. Soon, Yi Tian came to Zanji City. After entering Zanji City, Yi Tian entered Zanji Tower directly. At the same time, Yi Tian's body also came out from the human world and directly entered the Battle World Tower of the Xuanxu Holy World. Inside the battlefield tower, Yi Tian's body saw his duplicate body, and the duplicate body handed over the ice crystal snow lotus fruit to the body, and immediately separated. After Yi Tian's body got the ice crystal snow lotus fruit, he left the battle realm pagoda and returned to the human realm. Human world, I don't know how much this ice crystal snow lotus fruit can make my soul holy light grow. Yi Tian was very curious about this. Immediately, he swallowed the ice crystal snow lotus fruit in one gulp, and began refining the endless domain method. Boom! The energy of the ice crystal snow lotus fruit burst straight into Yi Tian's soul, tempering Yi Tian's soul, making Yi Tian's soul constantly transform into the holy light of the soul. What a terrifying speed of improvement! Yi Tian said in shock. Then Yi Tian continued to run the endless domain method to refine his soul. With the help of the ice crystal snow lotus energy, Yi Tian's soul holy light continued to grow. Time passed day by day, and tens of thousands of years passed in a blink of an eye. At this time, Yi Tian has completely refined the ice crystal snow lotus fruit. Compared with the past, my soul holy light has increased by more than 10 times. Yi Tian was shocked by the effect of the ice crystal yacon fruit. Compared with the ice crystal snow lotus fruit, the effect of the soul sanctuary flower is quite ordinary. It has to be said that this time obtaining the ice crystal snow lotus fruit from the Ghost Fox organization is undoubtedly a great opportunity. Otherwise, relying on his own cultivation, I don't know how many years it will take to grow the holy light of the soul to this level. Yi Tian's soul holy light has increased by 10 times, and his own combat power has at least increased several times. If Yi Tian fights against Qingyang Yuzu with his current combat power, then he can easily destroy Qingyang Yuzu. But even so, Yi Tian's soul holy light is still far from condensing holy soul. After all, Yi Tian's soul is very powerful, far surpassing the ordinary supreme power domain ancestor, so if he wants to convert all the souls into the holy light of soul, it will take more time and the difficulty will naturally be greater. But once Yi Tian has completely condensed his holy soul, his strength will reach an incomparably terrifying level. On the other hand, a holy soul level supreme domain ancestor like Qingyang domain ancestor is just a more general holy soul level supreme domain ancestor. Dark Sanctuary, Zan Ancestor Realm. Yi Tian's cloned body is constantly cultivating here, and he often enters the treasured places of practice. Duplicating the body does not need to enhance the holy light of the soul, only specializing in the cultivation of holy skill time fragments. The holy skill of Yi Tian's time fragment has barely been upgraded to the perfection realm, and it is still far from the ultimate realm. If you cultivate in the Xuanshu holy realm, the cultivation speed is naturally far inferior to that in the Xuanshu holy realm. If you cultivate in the Zanzu realm, you can enter many cultivation treasures, and the cultivation speed is naturally fast. Therefore, he will leave the cloned body in the Zanzu world and enjoy the resources of the Zanzu world, thus raising the holy skill of time fragments to the limit. The days that followed were very dull. Yi Tian kept cultivating the holy light of soul, but unfortunately the help of Soul Holy Realm to him was getting smaller and smaller. Maybe it would not be too long before Soul Holy Realm would not help him much. At that time, he must enter other Soul Holy Realm or rely on other opportunities to speed up the 607 cultivation of Soul Holy Light. Otherwise, he is afraid that it will take endless years to condense the Holy Soul. Just like many supreme ancestors in the Zanzu world, they have practiced for endless years, and relying on the resources of Zanmen, they still can't condense the Holy Soul, and they don't even know how many years it will take. Are there less resources in Wargate? Not a lot, but a lot, far beyond ordinary forces. It is a pity that many resources of the Wargate cannot be regenerated, and many opportunities are used up once and gone. If it is apportioned, there is no way to cultivate many supreme ancestors with holy souls. Therefore, Yi Tian does not expect Zanmen to help him condense his holy soul, he still needs to rely on himself. I can only hope that the Xuanshu holy world will give birth to some opportunities that can help me quickly condense my holy soul. Yi Tian secretly said. This day, Xuanshu sacred realm has created another sacred object. The grade of this sacred object is not bad. Although it is not as good as the sacred object list, it is much better than ordinary sacred objects. In the following years, almost every 100,000 years, a sacred object will be born in the Xuanshu holy realm, which shocked many ancestors. But most of the relics fell into Yi Tian's hands, he would not despise his few relics. Before you know it, thousands of years have passed. At this time, Yi Tian has a feeling that the Xuanshu holy realm will be born with a heavy treasure next time. Chapter 1406 Saint Level or Veins. This day, Yi Tian was cultivating and suddenly felt a special fluctuation. Chongbao was born, Yi Tian murmured. Swish, Yi Tian shuttled towards the source of the fluctuation at the fastest speed, and arrived at the destination in a blink of an eye. In a dark void, Yi Tian arrived, and some of the nearby domain ancestors also came here for the first time. I saw that there are countless energy surges here, and what is being nurtured. It is difficult for ordinary domain ancestors to spy on what the energy core is. But Yi Tian, as the ancestor of the strongest domain, naturally penetrated everything and saw the things at the core of energy. A mountain range. Yi Tian was surprised. No, it's not an ordinary mountain range, but a mineral vein. Yi Tian secretly said. If it is an ordinary mineral vein, it will not exude such fluctuations, and it must be very precious. As for what kind of ore vein, if it can't really form, he can't spy out. With the passage of time, this mountain gradually emerged, turned into a treasure, and stood in this area. At the same time, many domain ancestors also knew the situation of this mine. It's a holy ore vein. One of the strongest domain ancestors was shocked. Saint level ore vein. Yi Tian was also quite surprised. The value of a holy ore vein is much more precious than a holy relic, it is a real treasure mine. The ore materials born from the holy level ore veins can be used to refine holy soldiers. Many supreme ancestors want to have a holy soldier that suits them. The holy objects that must be suitable for combat are relatively rare. Grade material refining holy soldiers, this is the mainstream. But holy level materials are too rare. If there are no holy level materials, there is no way to convert holy objects into holy soldiers with only ordinary materials. One can imagine how valuable a holy level mineral vein is. For example, such a holy level mineral vein in front of you is enough to supply a large force to refine a large number of holy soldiers, so there is no need to worry about the shortage of holy level materials. You must know that ordinary sects are not qualified to have a holy level ore vein, and only holy level forces have a holy level ore vein. And holy grade ore veins are not continuous ore veins. Once they are used up, they are really used up, so many holy places do not necessarily have many holy grade ore materials. Many domain ancestors did not snatch, because holy level materials are not easy to mine. Even if they fight, it is a waste of time. Moreover, it is impossible for other domain ancestors to sit and watch them slowly mining holy level ore veins. More importantly, this holy level mineral vein appeared in the Xuanxu holy realm, and it is impossible for the human race to allow the holy level mineral vein to be robbed and exploited by others. This holy level mineral vein belongs to our human race. Everyone, please leave. Yi Tian appeared on the holy level mineral vein, facing the ancestors outside the human race, and spoke. The domain ancestors outside the human race didn't make trouble. Although they didn't know about Yi Tian sweeping the Ghost Fox organization's 4-star kings, Yi Tian beheaded 2 4-star kings outside the human world before. Therefore, Yi Tian's strength is so strong, they dare not provoke Yi Tian. Unless it is the top-ranking ancestor of the top 10 sacred gates, who dares to compete with Yi Tian, otherwise they will not dare to make a second. As a result, these domain ancestors outside the human race retreated one by one without saying a word. And Yi Tian began to arrange a large formation to cover this holy level ore vein, preventing other domain ancestors from sneaking in here to mine the ore vein. In addition, Yi Tian also sent dozens of domain ancestors to guard here, including several top domain ancestors. Once someone breaks into this place, he will be summoned as soon as possible, and he will rush over immediately. Dark Sanctuary, Qingyuan Holy Land. Qingyuan Holy Land is a declining holy land, ranking last among the 72 holy lands, and may even be deprived of the Holy Land name. Although there have always been 72 holy places, it does not mean that they cannot be banned, but they are often banned. For example, some sects are very powerful, giving birth to the supreme ancestors. While some supreme ancestors of the Holy Land fall, they will be banned by such sects. In the past, Qingyuan Holy Land was only a sect, called Qingyuan Sect. Later, the supreme domain ancestor was born, and he snatched a holy world, which made it among the holy places. But now, the supreme domain ancestor of Qingyuan Holy Land was seriously injured and has been retreating for recuperation, and the invincible domain ancestor of Qingyuan Holy Land has no outstanding powerhouse at this level. Except for the supreme domain ancestor, the Qingyuan Holy Land is not as strong as some top sects, and the top sects actually hide the supreme domain ancestor, but without the holy realm as the headquarters, I can't become a holy land power. A holy world and a supreme ancestor, these are the two necessary conditions for becoming a holy land. It is conceivable that once something happened to the supreme ancestor of the Qingyuan Holy Land, the Qingyuan Holy Land would immediately be kicked out of the Holy Land, and thus be banned by those top sects. Therefore, the situation of the Qingyuan Holy Land is very dangerous, and he has always wanted to find opportunities to strengthen the Holy Land's strength. At this time, the Qingyuan Holy Land knew about the birth of a holy level ore vein in the Xuanxu Holy Land, which immediately attracted the attention of the Qingyuan Holy Land. The Qingyuan Holy Land is very poor in the Holy Land, and the holy world it has is also a holy world with scarce resources. It is an extremely ancient holy world. The resources have been exploited too much, and even the source has been damaged, so it is difficult to produce holy level ore veins. Once they obtained the holy level ore veins, they would be able to forge a lot of holy soldiers, thus arming the invincible domain ancestors of the Qingyuan Holy Land. In that case, the strength of Qingyuan Holy Land will directly rise by a notch. Inside the Qingyuan Holy Land, an elder of Qingyuan Holy Land, Qingshu Yuzu, and Qingyuan Holy Land's contemporary Holy Master, Qingfeng Holy Master, are discussing the matter of the holy mine in Xuanxu Holy Land. Quote, Holy Master, Xuanxu Holy Realm has created a holy level ore vein. Once our Qingyuan Holy Land obtains this holy level ore vein, our strength will definitely increase. The ancestor of Qingshu said excitedly. Our Qingyuan Holy Land is too weak, are we qualified to intervene? Holy Master Qingfeng said worriedly. Holy Master, don't worry, those holy level mineral veins must be seized, and some of the domain ancestors are interested. Earth, maybe they will be afraid of the strength of Zonman's King's Zhao and they will take action immediately. Therefore, as long as we move quickly, immediately snatch this holy ore vein, as long as the domain ancestors of the door will not offend the war door. This is an opportunity. We only need to send a few invincible domain ancestors, and then understand the sacred object of our holy land, Qingyuanji Pearl. You can directly cut off the void where the holy level ore vein is located, seal it in the Qingyuan Jeju, and then leave the Xuanshu sacred realm in an instant. Qingshu Yuzu suggested. A little bit of an adventure. Holy Master Qingfeng hesitated. Holy Master, this is a great opportunity. If holy level mineral veins appear in the dark sanctuary, where would we have a chance? What's more, the eyes of some of the top holy places of the major holy gates are now attracted by the primitive ancestral realm. There is no time to pay attention to the situation of Xuanshu Holy Realm. This is also our best chance. Is it possible that the Holy Master wants us to fall into the Holy Land of Qingyuan Holy Land? The ancestor of Qingshuyu quickly persuaded. Okay, done. Holy Master Qingfeng gritted his teeth and decided to say no. Chapter 1407 Confront the Invincible Domain Ancestor. After the Holy Master Qingfeng decided to snatch the holy level ore veins of the Xuanshu Holy Realm, he immediately arranged for 2 invincible ancestors to go to the Xuanshu Holy Realm. This time, the arrangement of the domain ancestors does not need to be much, the focus is on the elite. If it is arranged for the ancestors of the strong domain to go, it is easy to be exposed, and it is of little use. In addition, the 2 invincible domain ancestors arranged this time are rarely seen, and the outside world does not know that they are the invincible domain ancestors of Qingyuan Holy Land. Even if it is discovered, the outside world may not be able to find out that it was done by Qingyuan Holy Land, which is relatively safe. This day, the 2 invincible ancestors of the Qingyuan Holy Land set off for the Xuanshu Holy Realm in the Daoshan Realm. The strength of these 2 invincible domain ancestors is not weak. Although they have not reached the level of the Blood Gang domain ancestors, they are much stronger than the domain ancestors on the top list. Therefore, Qingfeng Saint Ancestor thinks that if these 2 invincible territory ancestors make a move, they can definitely snatch that saint-level mineral vein. Even if it is discovered by Yi Tian, it doesn't matter. The speed of the invincible domain ancestors is very fast, plus they have been shuttled at the fastest speed. In just a few thousand years, these 2 invincible ancestors arrived at the Daoshan realm. After the 2 of them reached the Daoshan boundary, they tried their best to restrain their breath. Although the 2 of them are very confident in their own strength, the situation in the key Daoshan boundary is more complicated. Many ancestors of the 607 Dark Sanctuary have come here, and the Qingyuan Holy Land is actually not a powerful force. Compared with other forces, Qingyuan Holy Land was a little more daring this time. Therefore, they still need to be careful, so as not to make mistakes and lead to the failure of the plan, then it is not good. Ancestor of Wanshengyu, let's go directly to the place where the sacred ore vein is located, use the sacred object Qingyuan Boundary Pearl to intercept the void where the ore vein is located, and then leave. Li Yuzu opened his mouth and said, "It is good." The ancestor of Wanshengyu nodded. Immediately, the ancestors of Wansheng and Millie went to the Xuanshu Holy Realm. They did not directly tear the void into the Xuanshu Holy Realm, which was too obvious. Therefore, they followed the ordinary practitioners from the entrances of the Xuanshu Holy Realm to the Xuanshu Holy Realm, so they mixed into the Xuanshu Holy Realm, and no one knew that there were 2 invincible domain ancestors mixed in. Soon, the ancestors of Wansheng and Millie came to the place where the holy ore veins were located. At this time, they saw the great formation covering the holy level mines and the ancestors of the human race guarding here. There is no super strong domain ancestor to guard, these domain ancestors are too weak, there is no threat. Kill or not? Wanshengyu asked. Kill. If you don't kill it, it's not easy to intercept this piece of void. Once these domain ancestors attack, it will also cause void shocks, which will cause the Qingyuan Boundary Pearl to intercept this piece of void much more slowly, which will waste time. If you don't want to meet the ancestors of Wanvayu, you can't kill them. It's best to avoid the ancestors of Wanvayu. Li Yuzu proposed. Okay, then use the soul attack secret technique to attack directly. The ancestral way of Wanshengyu. It is naturally very easy for the invincible domain ancestor to kill a group of weak people who are only the top domain ancestors. Boom! A terrifying soul wave swept through the holy mine. At this time, the ancestors of the human race who were guarding the holy level mines seemed to be frozen, and their souls were annihilated. Even the top ancestors were no exception, and they all fell and died. At this moment, Li Yuzu took out the Qingyuan Boundary Pearl. Receive. Tear it up. This piece of void near the holy level mine was forcibly deprived by the Qingyuan Boundary Pearl from the Xuanshu Holy Realm. A large piece of void directly separated from this area, and kept shrinking, and was sealed into the interior of the Qingyuan boundary pearl. Success, tear apart the barriers of the Xuanshu holy world and leave. The ancestor of Wanshengyu said excitedly. Human race, human world. Yi Tian's body was cultivating, and he felt know when the formation of the holy level mineral vein was broken. Moreover, he is the master of the Xuanshu sacred realm. Knowing the location of the sacred ore vein, he immediately communicated with the primordial well of creation, and spy on the area of the sacred ore vein. Boom! The void swept away. Yi Tian's eyes crossed the void and saw two invincible domain ancestors, Wansheng domain ancestor and Mili domain ancestor. The holy level ore veins were taken away by them. At this time, the two invincible domain ancestors were preparing to break through the barriers of the world and leave. If it is the general lord of the holy realm, it is really not necessary to stop them in time, after all, it takes time to rush over. Moreover, the lord of the sacred realm at the supreme level of the ancestors could not prevent the two invincible ancestors from leaving. But Yi Tian is not an ordinary lord of the holy realm, and he also holds the primordial well of creation, and his control over the holy realm is the first. The holy level ore vein disappeared, and two invincible domain ancestors appeared there. Obviously, the result was that the human race domain ancestor who guarded the holy level ore vein fell. I didn't expect that someone would dare to attack the holy level mineral vein. Yi Tian was extremely angry. Boom! Yi Tian fully mobilized the power of Xuanshu sacred realm without any reservation at all. Repression. Yi Tian carried the power of the Xuanshu sacred realm to suppress the ancestors of Wansheng and Mili, and he himself traveled quickly. At this time, the ancestors of Wansheng and Mili were about to tear apart the world barriers of the Xuanshu sacred realm, and a force of the world was suppressed. This force of the world far surpassed the level of the ancestors of the strong domain, although it was far from killing them. It is far from enough, but it stopped them and failed to let them break the world barrier of Xuanshu holy realm and leave in an instant. Bang bang! During the process of Wanshengyu and Shuoli, they were forcibly called. The two stood in the void and looked at each other, knowing that they had been discovered by Yi Tian, and Yi Tian suppressed them from the sky and successfully blocked them. Living. It seems that we must face the ancestors of Wanvayu. The ancestors of Wansheng and Mili frowned. After all, the Holy Master's order was that they should not provoke the ancestors of Wanvayu, and they could not kill the ancestors of Wanvayu, otherwise it would cause too much trouble. Once the war gate fully investigates, the Qingyuan Holy Land may not be able to hide it. Primordial Holy Land is in trouble. Therefore, they couldn't kill Yi Tian, and finally left after severely wounding Yi Tian. Swish! Yi Tian came to tear the space and appeared in front of the ancestors of Wansheng and Mili. You two robbed my holy level mineral vein and killed the ancestor of our human race. Yi Tian said with a monstrous anger. Chapter 1408 Battle. 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 I'll go first, Wansheng, you hold him back. Li domain ancestral way. He didn't want to waste time. Once the time was delayed, what if there was an invincible domain ancestor hidden in the Dao Mountain boundary? Although this possibility is not very big, but he does not want to make any mistakes. Therefore, he left here with the holy level ore vein first, but Qingyuan Holy Land instead. This is the safest way. As for the ancestors of Wansheng, they are invincible ancestors themselves, and they can leave easily. It is good. The ancestor of Wanshengyu nodded. Saint level ore veins are the most important, and they really can't waste time here. After all, under the premise of not killing Yi Tian, it would take a little time to injure Yi Tian and make Yi Tian unable to pursue them. Therefore, it was the best plan for him to stop Yi Tian. Wow! The ancestor of Li took the Qingyuan Jiaju to shuttle away, leaving through the world entrances of the Xuanshu sacred realm, or when the ancestor of Wansheng was involved in Yi Tian, he tore the barriers of the world and left. Although they were stopped by the power of the world just now, if they attacked again and again, they could still break the barriers of the world and leave the Xuanshu holy realm. Therefore, the ancestor of the Mili region is not worried that he will not be able to leave. Unfortunately, they still underestimated Yi Tian. Just the two of you want to leave? Yi Tian made every effort to urge the power of the Xuanshu holy realm to bless him, and at this moment his strength reached an incomparably terrifying increase. Through the time fragment holy skill, he spied into a corner of the future, knowing that the strength of the two invincible domain ancestors is not very terrifying, and he dared to intercept them like this, otherwise he would not have rushed up so recklessly. 5 Elements Band. Yi Tian instantly blocked the void and stopped Li Yuzu. It is almost difficult for Li Yuzu to break through the blockade of the 5 Elements ban and escape. After all, he wouldn't give them time to break the ban on the 5 elements. Coupled with the effect of the primordial well of creation, Yi Tian could mobilize all the power of the Xuanshu Holy Realm, and it would be even more difficult for them to leave. Break him first. Seeing that Mi Liu could not leave for the time being, he said coldly. Boom! The 2 invincible domain ancestors took action, and they used the same holy skill, the Blue Wind Giant Hand. As the invincible ancestors of Qingyuan Holy Land, there are only a few holy skills they can obtain, because there are very few holy skills in Qingyuan Holy Land. Only the top holy places and the top 10 holy gates have many holy skills. It is quite good for the invincible domain ancestors like them to obtain a holy skill. The 2 Azure Wind Giant Hands covering a void grabbed Yi Tian, and such an attack strength was enough to easily grab any of the strongest domain ancestors. If Yi Tian did not have the power of the Xuanshu Holy Realm to increase, it would be difficult for Yi Tian to compete with these 2 invincible ancestors. After all, these 2 invincible ancestors are not weak. Support a few moves under the attack. Yi Tian was sure to kill the ordinary invincible domain ancestors, but he couldn't compete with these 2 invincible domain ancestors. But now with the increase of Xuanshu Holy Realm, his combat power has soared many times, and naturally he is not afraid of these 2 invincible ancestors. He can even consume these 2 invincible domain ancestors to death. Golden Body Holy Skill, Holy Armor. 1. Physical Sacred Technique. Yi Tian used a holy skill to fight with Mi Liu and Wan Shengyu. Yi Tian holds a saber-like relic, which was born in the Xuanshu Holy Realm before, and now it has become his saber. I saw him slashing with one sword, and with the virtual slashing holy technique, he cut out a terrifying blow. Puff! The ancestor of Mi Li was slashed by a knife, leaving a knife mark that almost penetrated his body. The knife hurt him. How is it possible that he is only the strongest ancestor? How could he hurt me with one knife? Mi Li Yuzu couldn't believe it. It is not that he has never encountered geniuses, even if many geniuses are promoted to invincible domain ancestors, he can suppress them with only one hand. After all, he is the ancestor of the 5-step invincible domain. The invincible domain ancestor is just a realm, and there is no specific division at the beginning, but as countless invincible domain ancestors cannot be promoted to the supreme domain ancestor, the Dark Sanctuary began to divide the invincible domain ancestors one by one. For example, it is the closest to the invincible domain ancestor. It can be said that it is only one step away from being promoted to the invincible domain ancestor. This type of invincible domain ancestor is extremely terrifying in combat. It can be called a one-step invincible domain ancestor. Invincible domain ancestor, the last is the 9-step invincible domain ancestor. For flowers, under normal circumstances, those who can be promoted to invincible territorial ancestors are geniuses, and their combat power is very strong, while those invincible territorial patriarchs who reluctantly use some special treasures to be promoted will be about 9-step invincible territory patriarchs after they have cultivated to the extreme of invincible territory patriarchs. And some new invincible domain ancestors, if the combat power is not as good as the 9-step invincible domain ancestor, they can only be called ordinary invincible domain ancestors. And as a 5-step invincible domain ancestor, he is also very powerful, and he will even be injured by a super strong domain ancestor. This shows that Yi Tian's strength has definitely reached the battle strength of the 5-step invincible domain ancestor, even if he does not have the combat power of the 4-step invincible domain ancestor. Of course, they could also see that Yi Tian had used the power of the Xuanshu Sacred Realm, but his own combat power was definitely not weak. Point 0. Eternal Holy Skill. Time was frozen. Yi Tian slashed at the ancestors of Wanshengyu with the fastest speed, directly smashing the head of the ancestors of Wanshengyu. However, in the blink of an eye, the ancestors of the Myriad Lives region recovered their heads. Mi Li Yu and Wanshengyu could not hurt Yi Tian at all, and any blow from Yi Tian could hurt both of them. But the invincible domain ancestor is the invincible domain ancestor. With the invincible domain body, the physical body can be called immortal. Even if Yi Tian's strength is very strong, it is difficult to obliterate their physical body and soul. As time passed, the injuries of Mi Li Yu and Wanshengyu became more and more serious. Fight, fight, fight. Yi Tian fought frantically, showing almost all of his strength, like a terrifying supreme god and demon, making Mi Li Yu and Wanshengyu all fear. And this battle also attracted many domain ancestors. A big domain ancestor came to this area and saw this battle. Immediately, they were shocked by Yi Tian's combat power. The strength of Wanfa Yuzu has reached such a level. Herring Yuzu said in shock. Although Yi Tian had used the power of the Xuanshu Holy Realm, Yi Tian's own strength could easily defeat her. The holy maiden in light clothes was also extremely shocked. When she was able to fight against Yi Tian, the gap between the two sides is too great. Although she has also been promoted to Supreme Power Domain Ancestor, compared to Yi Tian, she is simply not on the same level. Chapter 1409 Holy Master Qingfeng asks for help, Weeping Blood Emperor. With the passage of time, the injuries of the ancestors of Millie and the ancestors of Wansheng became more and more serious. Of course, they have many means of life-saving, and as the invincible domain ancestors, unless the strength gap is too large, it is more difficult to kill them. For Mi Li Yu and Wansheng Yu, they can't escape now. If they can't escape, then the final result will be consumed by Yi Tian. Ask for help, Mi Li Yuzu proposed. The ancestors of Wansheng agreed. There is no way. Yi Tian's ban on the 5 elements is too terrifying. When they were fighting with Yi Tian, they couldn't be distracted to break the ban, and they couldn't beat the ancestors of Wanfa in Xuanshu Holy Realm, so only ask for help. Therefore, they used a special message to communicate to the ancestors of the Qingyuan Holy Land in the Daoshan Realm, and then let the ancestors of the Qingyuan Holy Land try to contact the Holy Master of the Qingyuan Holy Land. The 607 Dark Forbidden Area isolates the communication, and it is very far away from the Qingyuan Holy Land, and it is impossible to do the communication. Only by entering the War Realm Tower or using a rare formation to forcibly connect to the Qingyuan Holy Land, can it be reluctant to communicate back to the Qingyuan Holy Land. The ancestors of Millie and Wansheng were fighting and could not contact the Qingyuan Holy Land. They could only send messages to the ancestors of the Qingyuan Holy Land in the Daoshan Realm and let them try to contact the Qingyuan Holy Land. Qingyuan Holy Land. Holy Master Qingfeng received a message from the Holy Land ancestor and learned about the situation of the Xuanshu Holy Realm. For the first time, he did not believe the source of the news. But soon, he confirmed in many ways, and finally confirmed that the news was true. How is it possible? The strength of the ancestors of Wanvaiu is so powerful. This is too exaggerated. Holy Master Qingfeng was dumbfounded. The 2 invincible domain ancestors he mobilized were 5-step invincible domain ancestors, not too weak, even he only had the strength of 2-step invincible domain ancestors. Hearing this news, Holy Master Qingfeng was very hesitant, not knowing what to do. Help. Once rescued, the top invincible domain ancestors must be dispatched, otherwise, Millie domain ancestors and Wansheng domain ancestors cannot be rescued at all, and some treasures must be used, otherwise it will be too late to rescue. And once the top invincible domain ancestor is dispatched, the secret of Qingyuan Holy Land's action will be exposed. After all, the invincible ancestors of the Qingyuan Holy Land with more than 3 steps are known to the outside world. Once they make a move, their identities will inevitably be known. In this way, he completely offended Fa Yuzu and Zanman. Even if War Sect did not destroy their Qingyuan Holy Land, if they suppressed them casually, the days of Qingyuan Holy Land would be difficult, and it was very likely that they would not be able to keep the name of the Holy Land. If the name of the Holy Land is lost, the enemies of the Qingyuan Holy Land will not let the Qingyuan Holy Land go. At that time, Qing Yuansheng might be destroyed. But if you don't save it, the loss of Qingyuan Holy Land will be huge. Not only will you lose the 2 invincible ancestors but also the sacred object Qingyuan Jiaju. And once the Qingyuan Jiaju falls into the hands of the ancestors of Wanvaiu, as long as the ancestors of Wanvaiu investigate, they can find out that the sacred object of Qingyuan Jiaju belongs to the Qingyuan Holy Land. At that time, the Qingyuan Holy Land will still be exposed. We must save the ancestors of Millie and Wansheng, but not the invincible ancestors of our Qingyuan Holy Land. Holy Master Qingfeng thought. After pondering for a few seconds, he thought of a person. Loose cultivation, Weeping Blood Emperor. The Weeping Blood Emperor is also a legendary figure, and his talent is not very good, but relying on each adventure, coupled with cruelty, he has seized many opportunities for peerless evildoers, and killed many saint sect disciples, so he can grow up to now. The Weeping Blood Emperor is very strong, and he is also the ancestor of the 2-step invincible domain. However, the Weeping Blood Emperor was on the wanted list of many Holy Gates, and was hunted down by the invincible domain ancestors of the Holy Gates and even the Supreme Domain ancestors. However, the Weeping Blood Emperor is very difficult to kill. Its body is a river of blood. It has been cultivated into a human form with the river of blood and has grown to this day. No one knows where his body is. Usually, the clones are dispatched. The strength of these clones is not as good as the main body, only the strength of the three-step domain ancestor, but even if the clones have fallen, they can form a clone again after a period of cultivation. It is because of the particularity of the clone that he can seize countless opportunities and is not afraid of being chased by others. For example, many invincible domain ancestors killed him many times, but they were all clones. Unless it is a supreme-level domain ancestor who is proficient in karma holy skills, he can easily kill the Weeping Blood Emperor. However, the clone of the Weeping Blood Emperor is not so easy to find, and the Supreme Domain Ancestor will not spend a long time chasing and killing an invincible domain ancestor. Therefore, the Weeping Blood Emperor has survived to this day. What no one knows is that the Holy Master Qingfeng and the Weeping Blood Emperor know each other. In other words, he has cooperated with the Weeping Blood Emperor many times, and has also traveled through the Dark Forbidden area, so the relationship with each other is okay. Of course, let the Weeping Blood Emperor help him for free, and the Weeping Blood Emperor will definitely not do it. But as long as he pays some price, the Weeping Blood Emperor is absolutely willing to do it, and he is the only one who dares to offend the disciples of the Holy Sect. I saw Holy Master Qingfeng holding a message to send a message to the Weeping Blood Emperor. It is easier to communicate in the Dark Sanctuary. As long as the Weeping Blood Emperor is still in the Dark Sanctuary, he can contact him. Holy Master Qingfeng, what's the matter? The communication object sounded the voice of the Weeping Blood Emperor. Emperor Weeping Blood, there is one thing I want you to help with. Holy Master Qingfeng said directly. Say, Weeping Blood Emperor. The two invincible ancestors of our Qingyuan Holy Land are threatened in the Xuanshu Holy Land. They are trapped by the Zonman's Supreme Domain Ancestors, and there is a risk of falling. Zonman does not know that they are the domain ancestors of our Qingyuan Holy Land. I also don't want to expose the existence of Qingyuan Holy Land, so I want you to go to Xuanshu Holy Land to rescue. If it is successful, I am willing to give you the 1,000 Blood Lotus. Holy Master Qingfeng asked. 1,000 Blood Lotus. The sobbing Blood Emperor's voice was slightly excited. I didn't expect that Holy Master Qingfeng, you are so generous, you would pay such a large price for the two invincible ancestral flowers. It seems that those two invincibles are so generous. What Yuzu does is not simple. 5.8. Rest assured, I won't care what the two invincible Yuzu did or what treasures they got, based on the relationship between us. Not to plot against the west of your Qingyuan Holy Land. However, the light, 1,000 Blood Treasure Lotus, who offended Zalwang Zonman this time, is not enough for me to take action. I also need the Phoenix Blood Soul Fruit of the God that we broke into, and I only need 3. If you are, I will go to the Xuanshu realm of Daoshan realm at the fastest speed. Quote. Okay, I promise. Holy Master Qingfeng agreed. In fact, even if the Weeping Blood Emperor asked for more extreme demands, he would agree, otherwise Qingyuan Holy Land would be in complete trouble. Moreover, once it is successful, the two invincible domain ancestors will be fine, and the Qingyuan Holy Land will also obtain a holy level or vein, but it will make a lot of money. Chapter 14:10 The Weeping Blood Emperor arrives, and the ancestor of the ancient sea appears. The Weeping Blood Emperor laughed very happily when he saw that the Holy Master Qingfeng had agreed to his request. For him, this is just a small task that can be completed easily. Once completed, he can obtain the 1,000 Blood Lotus and Phoenix Blood Soul Fruit that he has longed for. In the past, he tried to make a deal with the Qingfeng Holy Master, but unfortunately the Qingfeng Holy Master did not have it, because the 1,000 Blood Lotus and the Phoenix Blood Soul Fruit were indeed very rare, and it was almost impossible for the outside world to find them, and he could not provide what the Qingfeng Holy Master needed: treasure. Therefore, he has never obtained these two treasures from Holy Master Qingfeng. Then go to Xuanshu Holy Realm. The Weeping Blood Emperor murmured. Immediately, he took out a treasure, Wenkong Xingye. This is a relatively rare treasure, which can make people travel through the void at an extremely terrifying speed, but because it is a one-time consumable treasure, the value is not too great. Empty star leaves. So, he didn't feel bad. Immediately, the Weeping Blood Emperor urged Wenkong Xingye. Boom! Wenkong Xingye turned into a group of 29 rays of light to wrap the Weeping Blood Emperor, and the Weeping Blood Emperor shuttled through the endless void in a blink of an eye. Direction to fly. At the speed of the Weeping Blood Emperor, if it remains unchanged, it will take a few days at most to reach the Daoshan boundary. However, after a few hours, the power of Wenkong Xingye was exhausted. As a result, the Weeping Blood Emperor put on a piece of myriad sky stars again, and then moved on. In this way, the Wengkong star leaves were consumed one after another, and if they were replaced by other domain ancestors, I was afraid that they would be distressed to death, but the Blood Emperor was not distressed at all. He also wants to rush to the Daoshan realm as soon as possible, and the Holy Master Qingfeng also told him the detailed situation. If he goes a step late, causing the ancestors of Mili and Wansheng to fall, then he will go in vain. Don't even think about getting the 1000 blood lotus and the phoenix blood soul fruit. Therefore, it doesn't matter how much Wengkong Xingye is wasted. For him, the value of the 1000 blood lotus is more than 10 ordinary sacred objects, and even far more than 10 sacred objects. In the blink of an eye, 3 days passed. This day, the Weeping Blood Emperor arrived at the Daoshan realm. This realm is extraordinary, even better than the few large realms of Bintu. The Weeping Blood Emperor murmured. He didn't waste time, shuttled to Xuanshu Holy Realm at the fastest speed. Mysterious Holy Realm, Yi Tian is still fighting with those two invincible domain ancestors. At this moment, these two invincible domain ancestors have been seriously injured, but they still haven't fallen. I have to say that the invincible domain ancestor is too difficult to kill. Even if he is much stronger than the two invincible domain ancestors, it will take a lot of time to kill the two invincible domain ancestors. Therefore, he must consume these two invincible ancestors. Unexpected, Yi Tian's expression changed greatly, and he sensed the arrival of a terrifying aura. As the master of the Xuanshu Holy Realm, Yi Tian can sense more than the Xuanshu Holy Realm. After all, the entire Daoshan realm is transformed under the influence of the primordial well of creation, so Yi Tian can sense the Daoshan realm. Some cases of the domain. What's more, this strong man does not hide his breath, and is very close to the Xuanshu Holy Realm. Yi Tian doesn't want to sense it. Invincible domain ancestor, and far surpasses Mili domain ancestor and Wansheng domain ancestor's invincible domain ancestor. Yi Tian said solemnly, such an invincible domain ancestor, even he can't beat it. He also knew something about the division of the invincible domain ancestors. He estimates that his strength can only be regarded as the top 4-step invincible domain ancestor at most, which is only the combat power he possesses under the blessing of Xuanshu Holy Realm. The invincible domain ancestor is not bad. The Comer is definitely more than the 4-step invincible domain ancestor. I am afraid that he has the strength of the 3-step invincible domain ancestor. According to the investigation of the copying talent, the ancestors of Mili and the ancestors of Wansheng should come from the Qingyuan Holy Land. Could it be that the 3-step invincible ancestors of the Qingyuan Holy Land came here? Yi Tian guessed. However, he wasn't sure. Tear. The world barrier of Xuanshu Holy Realm was torn apart like a piece of paper by a bloody figure. And the blood-colored figure instantly locked the battlefield of Yi Tian, and the two invincible domain ancestors stepped over and came to this area. At the moment when the Weeping Blood Emperor appeared, one of the most powerful ancestors got up. No, it's the Weeping Blood Emperor. Emperor Weeping Blood, why did he come here? It's over, the Weeping Blood Emperor won't kill us, right? For a time, everyone was terrified. Even Zanman's Herring Yuzu was very nervous. If it is the invincible domain ancestor of other forces, he would not dare to take action against them, but the Blood Emperor is different. This invincible domain ancestor is a 2-step invincible domain ancestor, and his clone is also a 3-step invincible domain ancestor. I don't know how many beheaded. The disciples of the great forces and the disciples of the holy sect also fell into his hands. Therefore, the Weeping Blood Emperor is not afraid of their identities at all. Unless they are the first ancestor disciples, the Weeping Blood Emperor may be afraid and dare not take action. After all, if the ancestor kills a person, even an invincible domain ancestor like the Weeping Blood Emperor will surely die. There is no way to escape, and there is no way to hide, unless he really abandons the Dark Sanctuary completely and escapes into the Dark Forbidden Domain, remote areas. In this case, it is not easy for the ancestors to find him. It really offended the ancestor, and it is estimated that he was intercepted before escaping from the Dark Sanctuary. She is not a disciple of the first ancestor, so she is not qualified to be jealous of the Weeping Blood Emperor. At this time, the Weeping Blood Emperor did not look at the Herring Yuzu ancestors at all, but looked at Yi Tian. A Xian domain is actually a 5-step, Q domain ancestor, interesting. The Weeping Blood Emperor developed a strong interest in Yi Tian, and also became jealous. If he has such a heaven-defying talent as Yi Tian, how can he be afraid of the superior domain ancestor? Complete the task first. The Weeping Blood Emperor made 607 moves, and he was about to tear Yi Tian's ban on the 5 elements, thus rescuing the ancestors of Wansheng and Mi Li. The ancestors of Wansheng and Mili are also a little confused. Seeing the posture of the Weeping Blood Emperor, it seems that they want to save them. But they don't know the Weeping Blood Emperor. Could it be that the Holy Master asked the Weeping Blood Emperor to take action? This idea came to the minds of the ancestors of Wansheng and Millie. For a moment, they were excited. If the Weeping Blood Emperor is born, they will definitely be rescued. The mere ancestor of Wanfu, no matter how defiant the sky is, there is no way to compete with the Weeping Blood Emperor. However, at this moment, a figure stopped the Weeping Blood Emperor. Emperor Weeping Blood, what are you doing? Seeing this figure, the Weeping Blood Emperor's expression changed greatly. Ancient Sea Ancestor, how is it you? The Weeping Blood Emperor said incredulously. The Ancient Sea Ancestor is an invincible domain ancestor of Zonman, known as one of the 36 War Emperors of Zonman. What are the 36 Battle Emperors? They are the top 36 invincible domain ancestors in the War Gate, each of which is no less powerful than the two-step invincible domain ancestors, and their strength is stronger than the Blood Gang domain ancestors. The Blood Gang domain ancestor is very famous, but in fact it is only the three-step invincible domain ancestor. His position in the War Gate is not high, but he is often responsible for some small things in the War Gate, so he knows it in the War Gate. Degree is very high. The Ancient Sea Ancestors are rarely known, and are often in retreat or outside experience. No matter what, the Ancient Sea Ancestors shouldn't come here. Chapter 14:11 Kill two invincible ancestors. The ancestor of the Ancient Sea was the ancestor of the two-step invincible domain, and the Weeping Blood Emperor did not feel that he was his opponent. Unless his main body is here, he can compete with the Ancient Sea Ancestor, otherwise he can't beat the Ancient Sea Ancestor. Moreover, he is not sure whether the Ancient Sea Ancestor has been promoted to the one-step invincible domain ancestor. After all, he has not seen the Ancient Sea Ancestor make a move for a long time. You Cry Blood Emperor can appear here, why can't I appear here? Ancient Sea Ancestor said with a smile, but did not clearly answer the question of the Weeping Blood Emperor. The Weeping Blood Emperor knew very well that he couldn't save the ancestors of Millie and Wansheng today. Ancient Sea Ancestor, I'm just here to join in the fun today, I'll leave now. With that said, the Weeping Blood Emperor was about to leave. He doesn't want his avatar to fall here, after all, this avatar is also part of the power of the main body. Once it falls, it will take a long time to recover. Although he also wanted the 1000 blood treasure lotus, he could not complete the task of the Holy Master Qingfeng, so he simply gave up, otherwise the loss would be too great. However, he wanted to go, but the Ancient Sea Ancestor did not let him go. Emperor Weeping Blood, since you're here, don't leave. You once killed our War Sect's domain ancestor, and you are ranked 9th on the War Sect's most wanted list. The Ancient Sea Ancestor shot instantly. I saw the Ancient Sea Ancestor holding a top Holy Soldier level stick, with 9 holy relics integrated into it, showing the strength of this top Holy Soldier. Boom! The top-level Holy Soldier club slammed into the Weeping Blood Emperor, and the entire Xuanshu Holy Realm trembled slightly, enough to see how terrifying the power of this stick is. Not good. The Weeping Blood Emperor was shocked, and tried to use a defensive holy technique to resist the Ancient Sea Ancestors. However, click! The defensive holy skills were broken, and the defensive holy soldiers on his body were also broken. Bang! The body of the Weeping Blood Emperor was torn apart, and although it healed up again, as soon as the Ancient Sea Ancestor made his move, it continued. Countless stick shadows shrouded the Weeping Blood Emperor, breaking the Weeping Blood Emperor again and again. Soon, this avatar of the Weeping Blood Emperor was really completely blown up and could no longer be healed. Even the soul of the avatar was annihilated. Before this avatar died, the Weeping Blood Emperor said angrily, Ancient Sea Ancestor, one day, I will kill you. Welcome any time, Ancient Sea Ancestor said with a smile. The ancestors of the Ancient Sea beheaded the clone of the Weeping Blood Emperor, and many ancestors breathed a sigh of relief. At the very least, the Ancient Sea Ancestor is the invincible domain ancestor of Zonman, and one of the 36 War Emperors of Zonman. It is impossible to take action against them. At this time, Yi Tian is still attacking Mi Liu and Wansheng Yu, and he has no intention of stopping. The Ancient Sea Ancestor did not intervene, and it was unnecessary to intervene with his strength, and Yi Tian had the strength to kill these two invincible domain ancestors. It's over, even if the Holy Master comes here, it can't save us, unless the elders take action. The ancestors of Millie and Wansheng said in despair. However, will Elder Taishang take action? Impossible. The Elder Taishang has not recovered from his injuries. How dare he leave the Qingyuan Holy Realm? Once he leaves, if he is attacked by the hostile Supreme Domain Ancestor, there may be a risk of falling. While staying in the Qingyuan Holy Land, other supreme ancestors would not dare to enter the Qingyuan Holy Land, otherwise they would be provoking the Holy Land Alliance. As one of the holy places, Qingyuan Holy Land was naturally protected. Therefore, it is impossible for the elders to come to rescue them. Even if I die, I'll take you with me, Ancestor Millie and Ancestor Wansheng said angrily. Immediately, the two performed forbidden techniques, and their strengths increased greatly. However, no matter how hard they tried, they still couldn't hurt Yi Tian. As they used the forbidden technique, they persisted for a much shorter period of time. As the effect of the forbidden technique passed, they were extremely weak, unable to resist Yi Tian's attack at all, and their injuries broke out completely. Not long after, Mi Liu was killed by Yi Tian. After that, the ancestors of Wanshengyu also completely fell. The two invincible domain ancestors fell here, giving a deep shock to the many onlookers. At this time, the eyes of many Shanqiang ancestors looking at Yi Tian were filled with awe. After Yi Tian killed Mi Liu and Wanshengyu, he put away their treasures, and even the Qingyuan Jiaju fell into Yi Tian's hands. However, he did not have time to check these treasures, but flew in front of the ancient sea ancestors. Thank you Jiyu Heizu for helping, Yi Tian said gratefully. If it wasn't for the ancestor of the ancient sea, he might be fine this time, but the ancestor of Millie and the ancestor of Wansheng will definitely escape, and the holy level mineral vein of the human race will naturally be gone. Wan Fa Yuzu, let's find a place to talk. Ancient Sea Ancestral Road. It is good. Yi Tian invited the ancient sea ancestor to come to the human world of the human race, and personally entertained the ancient sea ancestor. Human world, ancient sea ancestor, you should have come out of the Zhanji Tower. Yi Tian said, Oh, I thought I was hiding deep enough, but I didn't expect you to sense it during the battle. It seems that you have a very high control over the Xuanshu Holy Realm. Ancient Sea Ancestor said in surprise. Ancient Sea Ancestor, you should have entered from the War Realm Tower in the Dark Sanctuary. Why can you come out of the War Realm Tower in our Xuanshu Ancient Realm? It's incredible. If the War Realm Tower can be freely shuttled, wouldn't it be enough to compare to darkness? The gate of time and space in the destruction domain? Yi Tian asked curiously. Ha ha ha, Wanfa Yuzu, you think too much. The Zhanji Tower is naturally far from being comparable to the gate of time and space. In fact, the Zhanji Tower can allow a domain ancestor to shuttle to another Zhanji Tower, but there is no way to leave the Zhanji Tower too far. For example, I can only stay in the Xuanshu Holy Realm at most. Once I leave too far, the Zhanji Tower will swallow me back. In fact, if I stay for a while, the consumption of the Zhanji Tower will it's very big. You can understand that I am still inside the Zhanji Tower, but the Zhanji Tower allows me to manifest in the outside world in a special way. Of course, only the invincible domain ancestor can do this. The King's Jiao, the strongest domain ancestors can't, otherwise they can't bear the power of the Zhanji Tower, and the flesh will turn into powder in an instant. Therefore, the limitations of the Zhanji Tower are too great, far from being comparable to the gate of time and space. Jiyu Heizu explained. So it is. Yi Tian understood. Wanfa Yuzu, be careful. This time you killed the two invincible domain ancestors. I don't know which force is behind them. If they come from the Holy Gate, they may continue to retaliate against you. If you really encounter in a desperate situation, immediately ask the war sect for help, understand? Jiyu Heizu reminded. Thank you Jiyu Heizu, I understand. Yi Tian nodded. In fact, he knew that the two invincible ancestors came from the Qingyuan Holy Land, but he did not say it. Even if it is said, the serious loss this time is the Qingyuan Holy Land, and the War Gate will not destroy the Qingyuan Holy Land, at most it will suppress it. Therefore, when he is strong, he will go to the Qingyuan Holy Land to trouble himself. Chapter 14:12 The Holy Monument appears. Ancient Sea Ancestor did not stay in Xuanshu Holy Realm for long and left soon. And when he left, he also left quietly. After all, the Zhanji Tower can make people temporarily descend to the area where another Zhanji Tower is located. This is also a secret inside the Zanmen, which is not known to outsiders. If Yi Tian hadn't discovered this secret, Zanmen would not have told him. Unless he stepped into the invincible domain ancestor realm and had a relatively high status, would he be qualified to know this secret. Qingyuan Holy Land. The Holy Master Qingfeng knew the situation of the Xuanshu Holy Realm, and immediately went to question the Weeping Blood Emperor. He immediately summoned the Weeping Blood Emperor. Emperor Weeping Blood, you failed to rescue the two invincible ancestors of our Qingyuan Holy Land, what do you say? Holy Master Qingfeng asked. The Weeping Blood Emperor said angrily. Holy Master Qingfeng, I met the ancient sea ancestors, can you blame me? In order to save your two invincible ancestors in the Qingyuan Holy Land, I lost a clone and suffered heavy losses. I will not trouble you. That's good, you dare to question me. Holy Master Qingfeng snorted coldly. Forget it, but you haven't completed the task I gave you, and the 1000 blood lotus and phoenix blood soul fruit will not be given to you. 607 inches Holy Master Qingfeng, I paid the price of a clone for your Qingyuan Holy Land, do you have no compensation at all? Weeping Blood Emperor. No, Holy Master Qingfeng said directly. Okay, don't try to work with me in the future. The Weeping Blood Emperor said angrily. The two immediately cut off contact. Holy Master Qingfeng no longer thinks about the matter of the Weeping Blood Emperor, he is very distressed now. The Qingyuan Jiaju lost, and Yi Tian was afraid that he would soon find out that it was the Qingyuan Holy Land. I hope the ancestors of Wanvaiu won't tell the War Gate. Holy Master Qingfeng thought. Afterwards, he stopped thinking about this matter and immediately went into retreat. If he can hit the realm of the Supreme Domain Ancestors, Qingyuan Holy Land has two Supreme Domain Ancestors, and the strength will definitely increase greatly, but he is not afraid of other holy places, and he is not afraid of the status of Qingyuan Holy Land. It may be casually let their Qingyuan Holy Land fall. Human world. Yi Tian began to sort out the treasures CJFI of the two invincible domain ancestors. It has to be said that the invincible domain ancestor was a little richer, much richer than the supreme strong domain ancestor. Soon, Yi Tian found the Qingyuan Jiaju. This holy artifact. Yi Tian saw the void inside through the Qingyuan boundary bead, and the holy level mineral vein was sealed inside the Qingyuan boundary bead. A very powerful sacred object, it even directly sealed a void and intercepted the holy level or vein. Such a sacred object is not low in value. Yi Tian muttered. Afterwards, he investigated and knew what this holy artifact was. Qingyuan Jiaju, ranked 2199th in the sacred relic list, belongs to the Qingyuan Holy Land, and it really copied the talent to investigate the two invincible ancestors. From their personal introductions, the information I learned is correct. This time, it is Qingyuan Holy Land's idea of making holy ore veins. Yi Tian was very dissatisfied with Qingyuan Holy Land. However, the other party is a holy land after all. Even if it ranks at the bottom of the Holy Land, there is still some background. It is almost unrealistic to want to overthrow the Qingyuan Holy Land at once. He was too lazy to inform Zonman, lest he would cause the crazy revenge of Qingyuan Holy Land. After all, once the Qingyuan Holy Land is in a desperate situation, it will really take revenge on the human race. The human race is too weak now and needs to develop. Wait until there is a chance to destroy the Qingyuan Holy Land. Yi Tian thought to himself. So, he put away the Qingyuan Jiaju, and this Qingyuan Jiaju alone is enough to cause the Qingyuan Holy Land to suffer heavy losses. Afterwards, Yi Tian unsealed the holy level mineral vein from the Qingyuan Jiaju and placed it in a void in the human world, allowing the domain ancestors of the human race to mine it. For the human race, the holy level ore veins are not currently used, but they can be traded with other domain ancestors, and can even be traded with the War Realm Tower, thereby obtaining a large number of resources needed by the human race. Moreover, once the human race gave birth to a holy soldier level refiner, these holy level mineral veins would be of great use. In a word, the holy level ore vein is a strategic resource that is extremely important to a faction. In the days that followed, Xuanxu Sacred Realm spent a quiet period of time. Yi Tian has also been retreating and practicing, constantly improving his soul holy light. However, the holy light of soul is very difficult to improve, and the speed of progress will be very slow if there is no great opportunity. In the blink of an eye, 100 million years passed in the Xuanxu Holy Realm. For the ancestors of the domain, 100 million years is not long. But for the human race, 100 million years is a very long time. Today, the human race has changed a lot. Not to mention that the ancestors of the human race have increased dozens of times, and even the most powerful ancestors have been born in double digits. For example, Yi Tian's relatives have basically stepped into the realm of the ancestors of the strongest domain, and several geniuses with better talents from the human race have also entered the realm of the ancestors of the strong domain. In addition to the strong domain ancestors, there are also many top domain ancestors of the human race. The Xuanxu Sacred Realm is very rich in resources, and there are many opportunities to help the ancestors of the domain to reach the top domain ancestors. Therefore, the ancestors of the human race can get a little bit of good opportunities, and they can hit the realm of the top domain ancestors. This has led to many top domain ancestors of the human race, even more than many top domain ancestors in the Dark Sanctuary. In terms of overall strength, the human race is already comparable to the sect-level forces in the Dark Sanctuary. At this time, Yi Tian also made some progress, but unfortunately the progress was not very fast, and the holy light of soul only increased by 30%. In 100 million years, the holy light of the soul has only increased by 30%, which is simply too slow for the previous progress. It's no wonder that the supreme ancestors of the Dark Sanctuary all want all kinds of opportunities, and even work hard for a treasure. The progress of the ascetic cultivation is too slow. Yi Tian sighed. This is because he has the cultivation increase of Xuanshu Holy Realm and Creation Hunyuanjing, which can increase 30% of the holy light of soul in 100 million years. If it is other supreme ancestors, the fragments of 100 million years will be improved at most. 1% of the light of the soul. This day, just as Yi Tian was cultivating, he clearly sensed that an amazing treasure was about to be born in the depths of the Xuanshu Holy Realm. This treasure has not yet been born, but it has already caused a shock to the origin of the Xuanshu Sacred Realm. Others may not feel it, but as the Lord of the Xuanshu Holy Realm, he sensed it too clearly. Boom! Yi Tian's eyes passed through the depths of the void and saw the infinite depths. Soon, the phantom of that treasure appeared in front of Yi Tian. It was an incomparably ancient stele, and on the stele there were fluctuations of worlds. Seeing this, Yi Tian recognized it immediately. Holy Monument. Chapter 1413 Cooperative Transaction with Zonman. Holy Monument. Yi Tian first learned about the existence of this treasure from Saintess Qingyi, which can be called the most precious opportunity in a holy world. Later, he also learned a bit from the War Gate, and learned more about the Holy Monument. The Holy Monument is useless to the Invincible Domain ancestors, but for the Supreme Domain ancestors, it is a real big opportunity which helps them to condense the Holy Soul. Even if they cannot condense the Holy Soul, it can make their soul holy light soar a lot. Since this holy stele has not been fully formed, Yi Tian is also unable to determine how many holy stele places this holy stele contains. It may be dozens, possibly hundreds, or even more. Yi Tian estimated that this sacred tablet would take about 3 million years to form. 3 million years is not a long time, you must plan carefully. Yi Tian thought to himself. He knows very well how powerful the Holy Monument is to the ancestors of the strongest domain. Once the news of the birth of the Holy Monument spreads, those holy places and even the holy gates will be alarmed, and maybe they will occupy the places of the Holy Monument. At that time, other holy gates would not be afraid of war gates, and they would definitely do whatever it takes to get the Holy Monument quota. After all, there are too few holy worlds and few holy monuments, and the number of holy monuments is one less. If you occupy a lot of holy monuments, you may be able to train a few more holy soul level to strong domain ancestors for your own forces, which is enough to grow the strength of the forces. Even the holy sect wants a few more holy soul level supreme domain ancestors. Perhaps the supreme domain ancestors do not care about this matter, but those invincible domain ancestors are afraid that they will strive for this opportunity for their apprentices or younger generations. Once many invincible domain ancestors descended on Xuanshu Sacred Realm, Yi Tian would not be able to contend against them. Could it be that he would refuse them and not give them a place? In that case, the human race will suffer. So, it seems that we must discuss it with Zonman. Yi Tian muttered. If Zonman can send a group of invincible domain ancestors to sit in Xuanshu Holy Realm in a short time, then there is nothing to worry about. Moreover, he can also sell these places to Zonman. Those who are the most powerful domain ancestors can also get the places. They need to pay some resources and treasures. In this way, he also made a lot of money. Gate of War. Yi Tian's cloned body asked to see the supreme level domain ancestor Fire Mark War Ancestor. Soon, the Fire Mark Zanzu let Yi Tian enter his mansion. I have seen Lord Fire Mark Zanzu. Yi Tian said respectfully. Ancestor Wanfa, what's the matter? Fire Mark Zanzu asked. Fire Mark Zanzu, the Xuanshu Holy Realm where I am, is about to give birth to a holy monument. Yi Tian said. Oh, holy monument. Fire Mark Zanzu is a little interested. Although the holy tablet is useless to him, it is a great opportunity for the ancestors of the strong domain. If there are enough places for the holy monument, it is enough to have a huge influence on a holy gate, and it can enhance the backbone of the holy gate. After all, in the case where the supreme level domain ancestor does not take action, the invincible domain ancestor is respected, and once the holy soul level supreme domain ancestor is promoted to the invincible domain ancestor, he will inevitably become the second-step invincible domain ancestor in the future, which is why the war gate with so many two-step invincible domain ancestors. Do you want some invincible ancestors of the Zanman faction to sit in the Xuanxu Holy Realm? Fire Mark Zanzu saw Yi Tian's thoughts at a glance and said. Yes. Yi Tian nodded. The Fire Mark Zanzu pondered for a while, and said, I can take the seat and send some invincible domain ancestors to sit in the Xuanxu Sacred Realm, but you still need to pay for some holy monument quotas, 10 quotas, which are the requirements of the war gate. If the holy monument, if there are enough places, those supreme ancestors of Zanman can also pay a huge price to buy the places. How much to sell is up to you, how about it? Can. Yi Tian agreed. Subsequently, the Fire Mark Zanzu summoned some invincible domain ancestors, informed them about the holy monument, and asked them to sit in the Xuanxu Holy Realm. These invincible domain ancestors naturally would not refute the orders of Hao and Zanzu, and agreed one by one. At the same time, there was also a rumor about the holy monument within the war gate, and some of the Zeon domain ancestors on the Zeon list came to the Fire Mark battle ancestor to request a place for a holy monument. The Fire Mark war ancestor led these people to Yi Tian and asked them to directly ask Yi Tian. This day, a supreme power ancestor came to Yi Tian. Hello, Wanfa Yuzu, I am Wulong Yuzu, who is ranked 58th on the Zanman Zeon list. I want to buy a place for a holy monument. I wonder if it's possible. Ancestor Wulong Yu looked forward to it. For flowers. It can be, Yi Tian said. Immediately, he said some requirements, including 2 sacred objects, a pile of resources, and even a lot of inheritance of domain techniques. It can be said that these things that he asked for can't be brought out by the average superpower ancestor, and even the top superpower field ancestor is difficult to come up with. Even if the invincible domain ancestor on the Zeon list can get it, his net worth will shrink a lot. Ancestor Wulong Yu listened and hesitated, but this was an opportunity. And the number of places for the sacred monument is limited. Once he hesitated for a few days, maybe there will be no more places. Okay, I promise, Wulong Yuzu said quickly. Immediately, the two signed an agreement, which was a preliminary deal. Point 0. In the days that followed, an invincible domain ancestor who was on the top ranking list all looked for Yi Tian, and Yi Tian agreed one by one. But when the number of places reaches 50, he will no longer sell these places. First of all, he has already obtained enough resources, and the human race also needs the quota of holy monuments, so it is impossible for him to sell all the quotas. After the matter was settled, the invincible domain ancestors of Zanman took this group of supreme domain ancestors who had obtained the quota of holy monuments and started to go to Xuanxu Holy Realm. They didn't use the treasures like Wenkong Xingye to come here. After all, it was still very early, so there was no need to waste the treasures. Therefore, they flew slowly like this, and their strength was very strong, and their flight speed was relatively fast. After tens of thousands of years, these domain ancestors have arrived in the Daoshan realm and entered the Xuanxu Holy Realm. And Yi Tian's body met these domain ancestors for the first time. This time, Zanman has dispatched a total of 8 invincible domain ancestors. These 8 invincible domain ancestors are not weak. They are all one of the 36 war emperors. Among them is the invincible domain ancestor that Yi Tian has seen before, GUC ancestor. In addition to the ancient sea area, the strength of the other 8 invincible domain ancestors is not weak at all. However, they all restrained their breath, and Yi Tian couldn't judge which level they were at. They are also 2-step invincible domain ancestors, and perhaps they are all 1-step invincible domain ancestors. In short, with these invincible domain ancestors sitting in the town, unless other holy gates send a large number of 1- or 2-step invincible domain ancestors, there is no way to threaten Yi Tian. Chapter 14:14 The Holy Monument was born. These invincible domain ancestors with war gates sit in the town, and the Xuanxu Holy Realm is worry-free. Yi Tian thought to himself. He is also very clear that although the value of the holy monument is very high, it is not so terrifying that it will not allow the holy gate to send a large number of 1- or 2-step invincible domain ancestors to fight with the war gate. Once it involves a large number of 1- or 2-step invincible domain ancestors fights, it will definitely involve the fight of the supreme domain ancestors, and the battle will be completely escalated. Moreover, the eyes of the supreme ancestors of the various holy gates are still on the primitive ancestors, and any treasure obtained in the primitive ancestors is more valuable than a holy monument. Even the Fire Mark Zanzu, his main body is in the original ancestor realm, and only one clone stays in the Zanzu realm. Therefore, Yi Tian is not worried that there will be a supreme domain ancestor coming. With the passage of time, the day of the birth of the holy monument is getting closer and closer. 623. On this day, the holy monument was born completely. Boom! An incomparably huge holy monument stands in the central area of Xuanxu Holy Realm, and its power continues to permeate, and countless domain ancestors know that Xuanxu Holy Realm gave birth to a treasure. As a result, an ancestor of the domain looked at the direction of the holy monument. Most of the domain ancestors did not know the existence of the holy monument, but a few of the most powerful domain ancestors knew the holy monument. The holy monument is finally born. The ancestors of Herring Yu and the other Shanqiang ancestors on the Zanmen Xian list were excited one by one. When the holy monument was born, they could obtain the quota of the holy monument, enter the world of the holy monument to practice, and quickly improve their soul in holy light. In particular, a few of the supreme ancestors who are about to condense their holy souls have almost a 90% chance of condensing their holy souls once they enter the world of holy monuments to practice. In that case, they can immediately attack the invincible domain ancestors, and their strength will reach an incomparably terrifying level. They finally waited for such a big opportunity. Whoa whoa whoa! A famous ancestor of the strong domain flew to the holy monument, and Yi Tian also came to the holy monument long ago. 1,000 worlds. Yi Tian looked at the 1,000 world entrances displayed on the holy tablet and was immediately surprised. Under normal circumstances, many sacred stels only have dozens of places, and relatively good sacred stels have hundreds of places, but sacred stels with thousands of places are very rare. Originally, I only sold dozens of places, and there are more than 900 places. Most of the places can be given to the ancestors of the clan, and the remaining places can be sold to Zanmen or other supreme ancestors. Yi Tian said with a smile. Of course, the price set now is definitely very high, even the first-class supreme power domain ancestor cannot afford this price even with all his wealth. In short, he doesn't care if others can't afford it, he just decides. No matter how expensive the price is, there are definitely many supreme ancestors who want a place for a holy monument. This is a holy monument. 1. Some foreign supreme ancestors saw this holy monument and went crazy. They also saw Yi Tian, and they knew very well that Yi Tian would definitely not give them the holy monument quota. However, once they rushed into the world in the sacred monument and refined the core of the sacred monument world, it was equivalent to forcibly obtaining a place, and even Yi Tian could not deprive them of their place. So, they rushed to the holy monument desperately. Court death. Yi Tian shot. Golden thread holy skill. Puff puff. In the void, countless golden threads were cut to the ancestors of the strongest domain, and they were killed in seconds, without any resistance at all. The strength of this group of superpower ancestors is no more than ordinary superpower field ancestors or third-level superpower field ancestors, and there are not even second-level superpower field ancestors. They are simply a group of ants, and they dare to rush into the holy monument. Even the invincible domain ancestor, if he dared to do so at this time, he would be killed by the 1 or 2-step invincible domain ancestors of the secret war gates. Sacred monument places, each one is very precious, Zanmen will naturally not let these places be snatched away casually. Zanmen, who has won the quota of the sacred monument, can now enter. Yi Tian said, "Thank you Wanfa Yuzu." Herring Yuzu and Wulong Yuzu flew into the holy monument one by one, each selected a world, and flew in from the world entrance. As long as they completely refine the core of the world and close the entrance to the world, other people will not be able to enter it, nor will they be able to disturb their cultivation. Uaa, you and your son, daughter, and my sister, choose a world to enter. Yi Tian messaged. Okay, husband, Xiao Yu replied. Afterwards, Xiao Yu, Yi Xingchen, Yi Xingyu and Yi Yu each entered a world. After that, the top domain ancestors who had already been appointed by the human race also entered the world of holy monuments one by one. Before that, Yi Tian conducted an assessment and selected a total of 158 genius domain ancestors, and now they all entered the world of sacred monuments, making countless domain ancestors envious. After all, these people are only top domain ancestors, it is a waste to enter the world of sacred monuments. The world of sacred monuments is of great use to the supreme ancestors who have condensed the holy light of their souls. Of course, the top one are ordinary ancestors of the realm. Once they entered the world of sacred monuments, their strength would increase rapidly. Especially the top domain ancestors, once they practice in the world of holy monuments, they can 100% break through to the realm of the strongest domain ancestors. Wanfa Yuzu, should I be able to go in? The lightly clothed saint appeared and asked with a smile. Light-clothed saint, you can get a place. 1. Yi Tian nodded. Wow! The lightly clothed saint smiled and flew into the world of holy monuments, making all the ancestors envious. Next, Yi Tian split up a clone and continued to select a group of domain ancestors among the many domain ancestors of the human race, but in any case, if you want to get a place for a holy monument, even a human 5.8 clan must at least have a top domain ancestors cultivation base, otherwise it would be a real waste to give them the quota of holy monuments. After all, in the world of sacred monuments, the effect of cultivation is the best at the beginning, but later it is equivalent to generating resistance, and the effect is getting worse and worse. If it is only in the later stage, it is equivalent to a good cultivation treasure. Otherwise, the value of the sacred monument is more than that. At this time, many holy gates and holy places in the dark sanctuary know that the holy monument was born in the Xuanshu holy world, and there are as many as 1,000 places. It is normal for a holy monument to be born in a holy world, but they did not expect it to be born so quickly, and there would be so many places. For a time, many forces shook and sent people to Xuanshu holy realm. Moreover, quite a few supreme ancestors also began to negotiate with Yi Tian, wanting to obtain a place for a holy monument. Chapter 14-15 Void Territory. The ancestor of Wanfa, I am the ancestor of the Qingshan domain of the Taoyuan Holy Land. I want to buy a place for a holy monument. I don't know if I can. 1. Qingshan Yuzu shuttled to Yi Tian and asked. As long as you can afford the price, we can naturally sell you a place. Yi Tian said. Immediately, he made his bid. Unlike the light-clothed saintess, the light-clothed saintess only paid a small price to get a place for a holy monument, but that was because Yi Tian needed a jade bottle at that time, so she would agree with the light-clothed saintess' transaction. But now it is different. Even if he is given a jade bottle, he does not even think about getting a place for a holy monument. And Qingshan Yuzu is not a person of war, so Yi Tian's offer is very high. Only the holy relics need 6 pieces, as well as many resources and treasures. After hearing this, Qingshan Yuzu was immediately stunned and couldn't help saying, Wanfa Yuzu, your price is too high. Even if I sell all the treasures in my body, I can't buy a quota. If you can't afford it, just go. Yi Tian waved his hands. Qingshan Yuzu was very annoyed. It is a pity that he is not Yi Tian's opponent. He is only a first-class supreme power domain ancestor. He is not even an ant in front of Yi Tian. Immediately, Qingshan Yuzu Li 29 left. It has to be said that most of the ancestors of the strong domain here could not afford a place, and they all returned disappointed. 10 days later, the other holy gates of the dark sanctuary sent many domain ancestors to the Daoshan realm. They all used the secret treasures and came at a very fast speed, lest they delay the time. Once the quota is gone, there is absolutely no way to compete for this position. Boom! An ancestor of the domain came to the Xuanshu holy realm and appeared near the holy monument. The first group to arrive were the domain ancestors of the heavenly sect, and the leaders were the 3 invincible domain ancestors. The ancestor of Wanfa Yu, we need some places for holy monuments at the holy gate of the sky, how about it? One of the invincible domain ancestors said with a smile. These words were obviously a threat, threatening Yi Tian with the invincible domain ancestor's combat power. Although Yi Tian's strength is very strong, the general invincible domain ancestor is far from Yi Tian's opponent, but the invincible domain ancestor who speaks is not an ordinary invincible domain ancestor. At this time, this invincible domain ancestor leaked a little breath, as if suppressing the eternity, far exceeding the ordinary invincible domain ancestor. Second step invincible domain ancestor. Yi Tian murmured in his heart. Such an invincible domain ancestor, he is far from an opponent. Moxie Yuzu, are you threatening our war gate? The ancient sea ancestors and others appeared, confronting the 3 invincible domain ancestors of the sky holy gate. 8 war emperors, the war gate is really generous. The ancestor of Moxie Yu, the holy gate of the sky, said solemnly. This time, they only dispatched 3 two-step invincible domain ancestors, but they did not expect that Zonman's handwriting was even greater, and they dispatched 8. But that's right, although the sacred monument does not belong to the war sect, it belongs to Yi Tian, and Yi Tian is the domain ancestor of the war sect. The war sect naturally has a lot of places for the sacred monument, and naturally he will not ignore it. Ancient sea ancestor, this holy monument has 1,000 places. We don't want more than 30 places in the holy gate of the sky. Mo Xie Yuzu suggested. 30 places. You're thinking about shit. Yi Tian cursed directly. 1. Ancestor Mo Xie Yu was angry and could not wait to kill Yi Tian. A mere supreme ancestor, dare to be so disrespectful to him. The opinions of the ancestors of Wanfu are our opinions. Gu Heizu and others immediately said. At this time, another batch of domain ancestors came. They are the domain ancestors of the saint sect of all things, and the saint sect of everything has dispatched 4 invincible domain ancestors, all of whom are more than 2 steps invincible domain ancestors. As time passed, the domain ancestors of the holy gates descended, and even many holy places dispatched 3-step invincible domain ancestors. A large number of invincible territory ancestors came with their younger generation, which put a lot of pressure on the human race and the war gate. At this time, Zanman is also ready to open the Zanji Tower at any time, so that many war emperors of Zanman will come. Of course, this is a situation where there is no way to do it. It is the choice that these holy gates will make to besiege them. Ancient Sea Ancestor, since we are here, we can't come back empty-handed, let's make some quotas. The blood-stained domain ancestor from the Dark Holy Sect said. Yi Tian said. Every invincible domain ancestor, it's okay to want a place, but you must buy it. If you want to get a place for free, it's impossible. Even some of the strongest domain ancestors of the war gate, if you want to get some places, you must buy. 1. Buy places, ridiculous. Many invincible ancestors are very dissatisfied. If they want to buy a place, wouldn't they waste their time by coming here, these invincible ancestors? Their purpose is to get some places for free, and that's what they ask for. Ancestor Wanfa, let me handle it. One of the 8 invincible ancestors of Zanman, the ancestor of Wuleyu opened his mouth. The ancestor of Jun Wuleyu. 7. Yi Tian is very clear that his weight is too low, these invincible domain ancestors ignore him at all, and he can't even threaten these invincible domain ancestors. In a word, it is still a question of strength. If he has the combat power of the 1-step invincible domain ancestor, and with the help of the power of the Xuanshu Holy Realm, he should be able to break out the combat power that surpasses the 1-step invincible domain ancestor, and then easily suppress these troublesome invincible domain ancestors. At that time, who would dare to say a word? Ancestor of the 5 Thunder Regions, what do you want to say? Bloodstained Domain Ancestral Road. The 5 Thunder Territory ancestor is very low-key and hardly makes a move, so although other people know that there is such an invincible territory patriarch in Zanman, they don't know him. At this time, the ancestors of the 5 Thunder Regions said, everyone, the Dark Forbidden Region respects strength. If you want to get a place for the Holy Monument for free, then show your strength. If any of you are sure to defeat me, I can persuade the war gate. The 7 invincible ancestors of the domain will not stop you. But if you lose, you can't intervene, how? Ancestor of the 5 Thunder Regions, this, 623. Ancient Sea Ancestor and the others frowned, thinking that this is simply a free quota for other holy gates. Yi Tian didn't speak, he felt that the ancestor of the 5 Thunder Regions dared to say so, he should have full confidence in himself, otherwise he would be embarrassed. Moreover, the ancestor of the 5 Thunder Regions is not simple. He is a sage, and he is also the 3 major sages. One of the sages should be his own destiny. Such an invincible domain ancestor is very powerful, perhaps reaching the combat power of a 1-step invincible domain ancestor. 5 Thunder Territory Ancestor, you are too arrogant, then I will come to experience your strength. Bloodstained Domain Ancestor said, enter my void territory to fight, so as not to destroy the Xuanshu Holy Realm. The Ancient Sea Ancestral Way of the War Gate. Can. The ancestors of the 5 Thunder Regions and the Bloodstained Regions agreed. The Void Territory is a special kind of shard that can be turned into a field, and it is almost impossible to cause huge damage in battle. Of course, it can also be used to suppress others. But the Ancient Sea Ancestors definitely did not dare to control the Void Territory to suppress the Blood-stained ancestors, that would be a foul. At this moment, the Ancient Sea Ancestor flipped his palm, and a small diamond-shaped fragment appeared. Go! Ancient Sea Ancestor waved his hand. This fragment turned into a huge territory, covering this area, and the ancestors of the 5 Thunder Territories and the Bloodstained Territories flew into this Void Territory one after another. Chapter 14:16 The Ancient Ancestor of the Invincible Domain transformed 3 times. Void Territory. The ancestors of the 5 Thunders and the ancestors of the Bloodstains began to fight. Originally, the battle of the invincible ancestors would be very terrifying, but in the Void Territory, the fluctuations were bound within a range. I saw the ancestors of the Bloodstained Domain transformed into countless blood-colored figures. This is a special kind of battle incarnation, but it cannot exist for a long time. It can be used in battles, but it is very terrifying. If there is no way to deal with it, it will be instantly killed lose. This is the famous holy skill of the ancestor of the bloodstained domain, Blood Shadow. It is a holy skill created by him, other people can't learn it. Someone discussed. In the face of the Blood Shadow holy technique, the other two-step invincible ancestors will be very dignified, but the 5 Thunder Domain ancestors smiled lightly, clasped his hands together, and the whole body began to grow larger, turning into a thunderous body that shook the world. Countless blood shadows bombarded the thunder body of the ancestor of the 5 thunder regions, but countless blood shadows were annihilated by the thunder force of the thunder body, but the thunder body was not shattered. No, this isn't the Thunder Pole sacred body, the Thunder Pole sacred body isn't so powerful. Bloodstained domain ancestor was stunned. Soon, he saw a clue. Has your Thunderbolt sacrament broke the limit? Bloodstained domain ancestor said solemnly. If the limit of the holy body is broken, the holy body will gradually transform towards the ancestral body. This is the same as the holy skill. Once the holy skill breaks the limit, it will be transformed into an ancestor skill. So is the Eucharist. However, it is more difficult for the holy body to transform into the ancestor body. Even if the limit is broken, it is impossible to transform into the ancestor body at once. At this time, the ancestor of Wuleyu smiled and said, Ancestor of bloodstained territory, my holy body is far from reaching the realm of ancestors, but it already has a trace of the characteristics of ancestors, that is, the realm of half-step ancestors. If you want to completely break my 5 thunder holy body defense, I'm afraid I can't do it. Half-step ancestor body, yes, I am indeed not your opponent, you should have reached the combat power of 1-step invincible domain ancestor, I am not an opponent. Bloodstained domain ancestor conceded defeat directly. In fact, he is only a 2-step invincible domain ancestor. Although it is infinitely close to a 1-step invincible domain ancestor, he is not a 1-step invincible domain ancestor. Bloodstained domain ancestor admit defeat, which means that bloodstained domain ancestor will not care. Who else wants to learn from each other? The ancestor of the 5 thunders asked. Let me do it. The ancestor of Moziayu of the heavenly sect opened his mouth and said. Moxie Yuzu, then please. The ancestor of the 5 thunders said indifferently. The ancestor of Moshieyu flew into the void territory and started to fight with the ancestor of Wuleyu. I saw Moshieyuzu holding a black long sword. This is his top holy soldier, Moshie sword. Top 100 weapon relics. Wanjian, countless sword lights slashed at the ancestors of the 5 thunder regions, and each sword light contained terrifying power. 1-step invincible domain ancestor. Many invincible domain ancestors are surprised. It has been rumored that Moxie domain ancestor is only a 2-step invincible domain ancestor. Now the strength shown has reached a 1-step invincible domain ancestor, and it is not an ordinary 1-step invincible domain ancestor. I am afraid that he has already been promoted. For 1-step invincible domain ancestors. Hidden so deep, many invincible ancestors secretly said. At this time, the ancestor of the 5 thunder regions did not sit still, but also used his holy skill, the 5 thunder seals. Boom! 5 lightning strikes appeared and blasted towards the countless sword lights of the ancestors of Moshieyu. Immediately, the 5 lightning seals collided with the myriad sword saint technique of Moshieyuzu, and they all collided and annihilated. I saw that the sword chi of the ancestor of Moshieyu was completely annihilated, and there was still one of the 5 thunder marks of the ancestor of Wuleyu. Domain ancestor. The invincible domain ancestors really have to fight for life and death, even if it takes a long time. Therefore, the ancestors of Moxiyu would not be rude, and had to separate life and death. At this moment, he was injured, and his strongest attack could not help the ancestors of the 5 thunder regions. This was already a loss. I surrender. The ancestor of Moziayu conceded defeat. Who else? The ancestor of the 5 thunders asked. Many invincible domain ancestors stopped talking, most of them are 2-step invincible domain ancestors, but there are also 1-step invincible domain ancestors, but they think that their strength is not as good as the 5 thunder domain ancestors. If they forcefully play, they will not only lose but also expose their own. Strength is absolutely unnecessary. Just when everyone was about to give up, an invincible domain ancestor spoke up. Ancestor of the 5 thunder regions, let me challenge you. Everyone forgets it, but sees that it is an invincible domain ancestor from the immortal holy gate, the ancient Hengyu ancestor. Ancient Hengyuzu is very low-key, but he doesn't know his specific strength. At this time, the ancestor of the ancient Hengyu dared to challenge the ancestor of the 5 thunders, and his strength definitely reached the combat power of the 1-step invincible ancestor. Ancient Hengyuzu, let's do it. The ancestors of the 5 thunder regions still did not panic. The ancestor of the ancient Hengyu entered the void territory, and the breath on his body began to permeate. Boom! The incomparably ancient and powerful aura suppressed the eternity, far exceeding the momentum of the two-step invincible domain ancestor. Moreover, the physique of the ancient Hengyu ancestor is full of supreme majesty. This is not the invincible domain body. Quote. You broke the limit of the domain body. The ancestor of the five thunders was surprised. Yes, I have broken the domain body and am transforming towards the supreme domain body. The shackles between the invincible domain ancestors and the supreme domain ancestors can no longer hinder me. The invincible domain ancestors want to transform into the supreme domain ancestors, need to after 9 transformations. I have completed 3 transformations. You should know what the 3 transformations represent. Although I have not surpassed the scope of the one-step invincible domain ancestor, I have vaguely surpassed the one-step invincible domain ancestor's combat power. My strength, I'm afraid I can't beat me. Ancient Hengyu Ancestral Road. Congratulations to the ancestor of the ancient Hengyu, it seems that your immortal holy gate is about to give birth to another supreme ancestor. The ancestors of the 5 thunder regions congratulated him. Congratulations to the ancient Hengyu ancestor. 1. Congratulations to the ancient Hengyu ancestor. 1. Congratulations to the ancient Hengyu ancestor. The invincible domain ancestors congratulated each other, and their tone was full of envy. In the Dark Sanctuary, there is no shortage of invincible territory ancestors who are stronger than the ancient Heng territory ancestor. Good king, there are even monsters who surpass the battle strength of the invincible territory ancestor, but so what, as long as they cannot break the invincible territory the limit, then there is no way to be promoted to the supreme domain ancestor. The invincible domain ancestor is almost the limit of the domain ancestor, and the invincible domain body can hardly break the shackles under normal circumstances, which is why there are so few invincible domain ancestors. There is no good way for the holy sect to help the invincible domain ancestors become the supreme domain body. Everything depends on chance, or endless years of grinding. It can be said that no invincible domain ancestor has a 100% certainty to hit the realm of the supreme domain ancestor, and can only rely on a certain amount of luck. But now, the ancient Hengyu ancestors have broken the shackles and practiced step by step, they can hit the realm of the supreme ancestors. At this time, many invincible ancestors looked at the ancestors of the 5 thunders, wondering if the ancestors of the 5 thunders knew them. However, the ancestor of the 5 thunder regions did not panic at all, but instead showed a smile. Obviously, Wu Lei Yuzu still has full confidence in himself. Chapter 14 17-20% Soul Light. Ji Hengyu made his move, and today is his battle to become famous. He doesn't believe that he has broken the shackles of the invincible domain ancestor, and transformed the invincible domain body 3 times, and is not the opponent of the 5 thunder domain ancestors. Shake Ancient Fist. Ancestor Ji Hengyu punched the ancestor of Wu Leiyu, and the entire void territory was shaken and trembled. If it is an ordinary one-step invincible domain ancestor, if he takes this punch hard, he is afraid that he will be blown up. However, at this time, a thunder spear appeared in the hands of the ancestors of the 5 thunder regions. This thunder spear was not a real weapon, but a condensed force of some kind. Holy skill. No, it surpasses the holy skill, it is the ancestral skill. Yi Tian recognized it. He had seen the Supreme Realm Ancestor Fire Mark War Ancestor take action before, and the Fire Mark War Ancestor had used the ancestral skill, so he recognized the aura of the ancestral skill. This move by the ancestors of the 5 thunder territory contains the breath of the ancestor skill, and it is obviously an ancestor skill. I saw Wu Lei Yuzu stabbed fiercely with a thunder spear, and in an instant, he smashed the ancient Hengyu ancestor's holy technique, shaking the ancient fist, and broke the defense of the ancient Hengyu ancestor with one blow, directly penetrating the ancient Hengyu. An invincible domain body whose ancestors transformed 3 times. Puff puff. Ancestor Ji Hengyu vomited blood and quickly retreated, his face extremely horrified. You have comprehended an ancestral skill, how is this possible? Ancient Hengyuzu couldn't believe it. The other domain ancestors were also extremely surprised, as if all this was too abnormal. How many Supreme 623 level domain ancestors did not comprehend the ancestral skill? Why did the 5 thunder domain ancestors comprehend the ancestral skill? The invincible domain ancestor wants to practice an ancestor skill, this is too difficult. This is simply more difficult than hitting the supreme domain ancestor. The ancient Hengyu ancestor broke the shackles of the invincible domain ancestor, and he will definitely become the supreme domain ancestor in the future. This is already very good, and the Wu Lei domain ancestor is even more powerful. He has practiced an ancestral skill as the invincible domain ancestor. How defiant. This is the Five Thunder sacred spear of the Five Thunder region ancestor. This was originally a holy skill. It seems that the Five Thunder region ancestor not only broke the limit of the holy body, but also had a trace of the ancestral body. Ancestral skill level, ancient sea ancestor secretly said. I have to say that he admires the ancestors of the Five Thunder regions very much, at least he can't do this. The Wulei territory ancestor, who has an ancestral skill, has broken the limit of the one-step invincible territory patriarch, and his combat power is even comparable to that of the weaker supreme territory patriarch. Jiyu Hengyu is naturally not the opponent of Wulei Yuzu. If he really fights desperately, he is afraid that he will be killed directly by him. I surrender, Ancestor Jiyu Hengyu said helplessly. As the ancient Hengyuzu conceded defeat, the other invincible domain ancestors did not dare to fight against the Wulei domain ancestors. The Dark Sanctuary must have an invincible domain ancestor comparable to the Five Thunder domain ancestors, but there is no such thing here. The ancestors of the Five Thunder regions have won. Yi Tian breathed a sigh of relief. This time, these invincible ancestors have no way to persecute the human race, nor can they forcibly seize the quota of the holy monument. Many thanks to the ancestors of the Five Thunder regions. Yi Tian thanked. The duty lies, the ancestor of the Five Thunder regions said lightly. The invincible domain ancestors of the major forces did not dare to make mistakes, and those supreme domain ancestors who wanted holy monuments could only buy them. As a result, one of the most powerful domain ancestors of the Holy Gates has almost exhausted all their belongings and even needs to borrow some resources and treasures from the invincible domain ancestors, so as to be able to reluctantly buy a holy monument. It can be said that Yi Tian made a lot of money this time. Because the price set by Yi Tian was too high, many Xian domain ancestors were reluctant to buy it and could only choose to give up. In the end, Yi Tian discovered that there were still quite a few places for the 1,000 sacred monuments, and he gave some places to the war sect, and gave them to the invincible domain ancestors of the war sect, and let them distribute them by themselves, which was considered a return to them. For the remaining holy monument places, Yi Tian gave a group of domain ancestors newly selected by the human race. In this way, all the places for the holy monument have been allocated. Subsequently, Yi Tian entered a holy monument world that he had chosen and began to refine the core of the world. Not long after, the world core refining was completed. Close the entrance to the world. When Yi Tian thought about it, the entrance to the world was closed, so that people from the outside would not be able to enter, unless it was to break the holy monument. However, how strong the holy monument is, unless it has the power to break the Xuanshu holy realm, it cannot break the holy monument at all. Invincible domain ancestors such as Wulei Yuzu can only hope to break the holy monument, and other invincible domain ancestors can hardly do it. Therefore, it is very safe to retreat here, and I do not worry about being disturbed by CJFI people. The world of the sacred monument is like a starry sky. Yi Tian sat cross-legged here and started to practice. A ray of starlight fell into Yi Tian's soul, helping Yi Tian's soul to temper the soul holy light. This starlight is naturally not the real starlight, but the power of the holy tablet, which helps to temper the holy light of the soul. The training speed is so fast. Yi Tian was overjoyed. Immediately, he ran the endless domain law, madly tempering his soul, and constantly giving birth to the holy light of soul. And here, comprehension will also be greatly increased. No wonder everyone wants to enter the sacred monument world. There are so many benefits to cultivating here. Even if the third-grade Supreme Emperor comes to cultivate, he can eventually become the first-grade invincible domain ancestor. Yi Tian murmured. Day after day passed, Yi Tian's soul holy light continued to be born, and the number became more and more. In the beginning, Yi Tian's entire ghost only had the holy light of soul, but now the surface covered by holy light of soul is already proportional. In the blink of an eye, 30 million years have passed. After such a long period of ascetic cultivation, Yi Tian's soul holy light has soared. Soul light that covers 1/5 of the soul. Yi Tian looked at the soul realm, the holy light of the soul that covered 1/5 of the soul, and was immediately very satisfied. It can be said that the holy light of his soul has been strengthened tenfold this time. Before, when he did not rely on the world of holy monuments to cultivate himself, after 100 million years of hard work, he barely increased 30% of the original total amount of holy light of the soul, but now it is 10 times. It can be seen how effective the world of holy monuments is. It is good. The soul holy light of 1/5 of the soul is equivalent to 20% of the soul holy light, and his 20% of the soul holy light is probably stronger than the holy soul of the general supreme ancestor. After all, his soul is too powerful. It's a pity that it is difficult for the holy light of soul to grow even after he has cultivated to this level, because the increase in the world of sacred monument has a very general effect on him. In terms of strength, Yi Tian's current strength is much stronger than in the past. After all, the holy light of the soul has soared, and his strength has naturally skyrocketed. Only one holy monument world can make my soul holy light grow to 20%. At this rate, the later tempering will become more and more difficult. I am afraid that 7 or 8 holy monument worlds, or even more holy monument worlds, will be needed. It can completely transform my soul into a holy soul. Yi Tian muttered. Moreover, the same holy monument can only have one effect. For example, if he goes to other holy monument worlds of this holy monument now, it is useless. In fact, the 1000 holy monument worlds of this holy monument are actually the same. There are very few sacred monuments in the Dark Sanctuary, and many places in the world of sacred monuments have long been used up. In my place, at most one place in the world of sacred monuments is the limit. I want to condense with the help of the sacred monuments. Holy Spirit, it is estimated that it is an extravagant hope. Yi Tian shook his head and said. Therefore, he must use other opportunities to condense the holy soul. Single G. Chapter 14:18 Block the Xuanshu Holy Realm. There are many opportunities in the Xuanshu Holy Realm, and as time goes by, more opportunities will be born in the future. If the Xuanshu Holy Realm becomes the ancestral realm, there will be more opportunities, and even opportunities and treasures that are helpful to the ancestors will be born. However, it takes time for the Xuanshu sacred realm to grow up. Now that the sacred realm wants to evolve into the ancestral realm, I don't know how many years it will take. Yi Tian can't wait forever, it's too long. He wants to use the opportunity to condense the holy soul, and he can't count on the Xuanshu holy realm. He must find a new opportunity. In the blink of an eye, another 10 million years have passed. At this time, the world of the sacred monument has a general effect on many ancestors, and even has almost no effect. In addition to the human race domain ancestors, many domain ancestors of other forces have left the world of holy monuments. For example, saints in light clothes and others left the Xuanshu sacred realm and returned to the dark sacred realm. For them, continuing to stay in the Xuanshu holy realm is undoubtedly a waste of time, because the holy monument is almost the biggest opportunity for a holy realm, and the opportunities after that are very ordinary. They don't know that Xuanshu holy realm can be promoted to ancestral realm, so they have no expectations for Xuanshu holy realm, and naturally they will not stay. And the domain ancestors of Zonman also left one by one, and even the 8 invincible domain ancestors of Zonman also left one by one. After all, there is no need for them to stay here, and there are still many things in the Dark Sanctuary, and there are even opportunities that belong to them. It is very good that they can stay in the Xuanshu Sanctuary for so long. In the following hundreds of thousands of years, the domain ancestors of other forces were almost gone, and only a few domain ancestors stayed in Xuanshu Sacred Realm. Human world. Yi Tian was listening to the report from the temple. Lord Wanfa Yuzu, this is the progress of the ancestors of the human race. The newly promoted to the strongest ancestor of the human race, one of the guardians of the temple, reported by Lan Yuzuhui. Yi Tian took a look and was very satisfied with the progress of the ancestors of the human race. The human race now has about 1 million domain ancestors, more than 30,000 top domain ancestors, and 500 supreme domain ancestors. These 500 people are all promoted from the world of holy monuments. In the world of holy monument, their soul tempering speed is very fast, and they have made great progress. In addition, there is no shortage of cultivation resources, and the world of holy monument can increase their cultivation speed, so they can be promoted to the most powerful ancestors one by one. There are 500 supreme ancestors, and no ordinary sect has such a scale. Some weak sects only have dozens of the strongest domain ancestors, 1 or 2 invincible domain ancestors, and that's all. It is conceivable how great the progress of the human race is at present. The human race has grown so much in a short period of time, and has the ability to completely control the Xuanshu Holy Realm. This day, in the human race temple, Yi Tian summoned hundreds of supreme power domain ancestors and opened the human race conference. One by one, the most powerful ancestors of the human race came to the temple, and they were all curious, not knowing what to say at this meeting. Boom! Yi Tian descended to the temple and looked at the surrounding ancestors. This meeting is about the control of the Xuanshu Holy Realm. The Xuanchu Holy Realm is now the territory of our human race, but because there were not many ancestors of the human race before, there were many ancestors of other forces in the Daoshan realm, so there was no way to completely block it. Xuanchu Holy Realm. But now, the ancestors of the human race are millions. I propose to block the Xuanchu Holy Realm, just like the holy places in the Dark Sanctuary. Like the Holy Gate, the headquarters does not allow others to enter. Yi Tian suggested. At this time, Qinghe Yuzu, one of the most powerful ancestors of the human race, opened his mouth and said, Lord Wanfa Yuzu, once we block the Xuanchu Holy Realm, other forces will inevitably resist, and the Battle Realm Pagoda of the Xuanchu Holy Realm is the site of many domain ancestors and the place of chance for the ancestors of the half-step domain to block the Xuanchu Holy Realm. They can't enter the War Realm Tower. I am afraid that they will unite to suppress our human race in the area outside the Xuanchu Holy Realm. Yi Tian said with a smile. They don't dare to suppress, not even the most powerful ancestors, how dare to suppress our human race. Moreover, I am not preventing them from entering the War Realm Tower. They can open a world channel and directly reach the war zone. World Void, there is still a public area. Except for the War World Void, all other places are blocked and no outsiders are allowed to enter. I did this for the sake of the human race, otherwise some treasures will be born in the future, and other forces will come to snatch them, and even cause the Dark Saint the domain ancestor of the domain. This is not a good thing. If the Xuanchu Holy Realm is blocked, other domain ancestors will not be able to perceive what treasures are born in the Xuanchu Holy Realm. Even if there is an amazing opportunity, it only belongs to our human race. I agree with the advice of Lord Wanvayazu. I agree. Ask for flowers. Agree. Many of the strongest domain ancestors agreed very much. Many of the opportunities originally belonged to the human race, but they were robbed by the domain ancestors of other forces. They were also very depressed. Before, the human race was weak and could not do anything. But now, almost all of the ancestors of the Dark Sanctuary have left, and the rest are weak, so they have the strength to block the Xuanchu Sanctuary and monopolize the future opportunities of the Xuanchu Sanctuary. Most of the ancestors agreed, and Yi Tian gave this order. At the same time, Yi Tian began to use the power of Xuanchu Sacred Realm to build monstrous formations all over the Xuanchu Sacred Realm to block the Xuanchu Sacred Realm. Soon, many domain ancestors in the Daoshan realm began to communicate Yi Tian. Leader, why are we not allowed to enter the Xuanchu Holy Realm? Leader, why did you drive us domain ancestors away from the Xuanchu Sacred Realm? Leader, the actions of the human race are too much. Regarding the communication from these domain ancestors, Yi Tian had only one sentence: this is my order. No matter how dissatisfied and angry those domain ancestors were, Yi Tian still carried out this plan. No way, others don't know the situation of Xuanchu Holy Realm, but Yi Tian is very clear. The Xuanchu Holy Realm has been growing, and I am afraid that more opportunities will be born in the future. Once the Xuanchu Holy Realm is not blocked, I am afraid that this secret will be leaked. Originally, the Holy Tablet was the biggest opportunity for a holy world, but for the Xuanchu Holy World, the Holy Tablet was definitely not the biggest opportunity. Therefore, while the domain ancestors of the Dark Sanctuary left, he quickly blocked the Xuanchu Sanctuary, so that the opportunity would not be leaked. Even if more big opportunities were born, it would belong to the human race. Time passed slowly. After Yi Tian completely blocked the Xuanchu Holy Realm, other domain ancestors could not enter the Xuanchu Holy Realm. At first, they were making trouble, but slowly they accepted it. In addition, there are also some opportunities in the Daoshan realm, and even a lot of precious places have been born, which attracts these realms. Page. And just like that, millions of years have passed. This day, a message came from Zanman, which made Yi Tian extremely excited. Chapter 1419 The Second Holy Monument Quota. The original ancestral world is over. Yi Tian got this news from Zanman. After such a long time, the 10 supreme holy gates and many holy places competed one by one, which was actually a game between holy gates, and finally came to a conclusion. As for the result, Yi Tian is not very clear. Actually, he doesn't know much. He only knew that after the Holy War, the War Gate had won a lot of places to enter the primitive ancestral realm, and the number of places only meant that there were more opportunities to obtain treasures, and it did not mean that there were really a lot of treasures to be obtained. For example, some forces only enter one person, but that person is powerful enough to still obtain a lot of treasures. However, if the number of people is large, there are enough qualifications to join together. However, judging from the tone of several supreme domain ancestors, the gains from the War Gate are not small. But there was also an invincible domain ancestor who fell, and 3 invincible domain ancestors suffered heavy losses. The fallen invincible territory ancestor of 623 was also one of the 36 battle emperors. His strength was second only to the 5 thunder territory ancestor, but he fell into the primitive ancestral realm, which was also unpredictable. Perhaps soon, Zanman will reselect a 2-step invincible domain ancestor to be named as the 36 battle emperors. These things have nothing to do with Yi Tian. He is concerned about another thing, a chance belonging to the primitive ancestors. This opportunity belongs to the ancestors of the strong domain, and only the ancestors of the strong domain are allowed to enter. Once the opportunity is enough, it will be enough for Yi Tian to condense the Holy Soul. This opportunity is a special world in the primitive ancestral world, the Holy Soul world. The Holy Soul realm is a special world that can give birth to a kind of Holy Soul beast. Once the Holy Soul beast is hunted, it can absorb the power of the Holy Soul to strengthen its own Holy Soul. This kind of Holy Soul beast cannot be brought out of the Holy Soul realm, only the rules of the Holy Soul realm are special, and such Holy Soul beasts can be born. In addition, there will be many treasures and even sacred objects born in the Holy Soul realm. Almost all the sacred objects born in the Holy Soul realm are soul sacred objects. If they cooperate with the Holy Soul, they will exert a terrifying soul attack, thereby annihilating the soul of the enemy. For example, the ice crystal snow lotus fruit that Yi Tian devoured before, there is also such a treasure in the Holy Soul realm. It is conceivable that the Holy Soul realm is simply a place of supreme treasure for the ancestors of the supreme power domain. However, the primitive ancestral realm will only be opened once in a long time. Only when the primitive ancestral realm is opened will the Holy Soul realm be opened. Before, many supreme ancestors wanted to strengthen the holy light of soul, just to prepare for entering the Holy Soul realm. Otherwise, there would not be so many forces that let the ancestors of the strong domain enter the holy monument world of the Xuanshu holy realm, strengthen the holy light of the soul, and improve their strength. The stronger the strength is, the more you can save your life when you enter the Holy Soul realm. Moreover, the top 10 holy gates are afraid that there are many Holy Soul level to strong domain ancestors who have been suppressing their strength, not entering the realm of the invincible domain ancestors, and only preparing for the opportunity of the Holy Soul world. Yi Tian didn't dare to say that his own strength must be the strongest. After all, there are many evil spirits in the dark sanctuary. For example, those who have condensed holy souls, plus the gifts from their parents, I am afraid they have many trump cards and amazing, secret treasure. Therefore, they are also a threat to Yi Tian. However, once he condenses his holy soul, his strength will skyrocket a lot, and he will not be afraid of everything. The Holy Soul realm is open, you must go to the main body, it is useless to go to improve the holy light of the soul, the main body can't be improved, and the cultivation base still can't improve. Yi Tian thought to himself. This is also a defect of copying the body. If the copying of the body is improved, the body will be improved along with it, how great it would be. However, this kind of thing can only be thought about. Yi Tian was going to the primitive ancestral realm, his body was not in the Xuanshu holy realm, and he was worried about the safety of the human race in the Xuanshu holy realm. So, Yi Tian withdrew the cloned body of Zanzuji, and then condensed the cloned body again in Xuanshu sacred realm. In this way, the cloned body sits in the Xuanshu holy realm, while his body leaves the Xuanshu holy realm and goes to the dark sanctuary. Yi Tian didn't use that kind of fast-moving treasure, in fact, he could easily afford it, but there was no need to use it. It took him tens of thousands of years to reach the dark sanctuary in the Zanzu realm. There is still a period of time before the Holy Soul realm opens, otherwise many supreme ancestors are still in the dark forbidden area, and it will take time to come back. Yi Tian took advantage of this time to enter all the treasures in the War Gate. Although he had entered these treasures before, he only copied his body to enter, and the improved cultivation was in vain. But now, his body is here, and the improved cultivation is a real improvement. In the blink of an eye, hundreds of thousands of years have passed. At this time, Yi Tian's soul holy light has increased a little, which is roughly equivalent to about 20% of the whole soul. This kind of improvement is also very fast, but it has taken advantage of many treasures and many resources. In the future, many treasures of Zanman will not be of much use to him. This day, an order from the War Gate was issued, that is, Yi Tian's request for a place for the holy monument was passed. Zanman is in charge of more than a dozen holy worlds in total, plus the holy monuments of the ancestral realm. There are many holy monuments, but over the long years, the number of holy monuments has naturally been divided up and not much is left. It was also because Yi Tian had previously contributed a lot of places for the Xuanxu Sacred Realm's sacred monument to Zanmen, so he could pass the application this time, but he only got one sacred monument place. This holy monument is located in the Red Maple Holy World under the command of Zanmen, and this holy world was born 5 years ago. The realm chronology is the time from the birth of an ordinary realm to the Great Destruction, which is roughly equivalent to 100 million cosmic years, and the cosmic year is the lifespan of the ordinary universe. From this, it can be imagined how long the 5-realm chronology is. After such a long time, the number of holy monuments in the Red Maple Holy Realm has not been used up, and now there are only 3 places left. And now, Yi Tian came to occupy another spot. The battle goalkeeper was given to Yi Tian, hoping that Yi Tian could increase his strength before entering the Holy Soul Realm, so as to gain more benefits in the Holy Soul Realm. It still takes a long time for the Holy Soul Realm to open, so it is enough for Yi Tian to practice in the Red Maple Holy Realm's Sacred Monument World for a long time. After entering the Red Maple Sacred World, Yi Tian entered the Red Maple Sacred World's Sacred Monument World and started his own practice. In this way, tens of millions of years have passed. At this 5.8, Yi Tian's soul holy light rose sharply. The holy light of the soul occupies 30% of the soul. Yi Tian muttered. Third, this kind of progress is also very huge. Although it is a lot more than the previous one, it is also normal. After all, the stronger the holy light of the soul, the more difficult it is to improve. 2. If the improvement rate is the same, wouldn't it be possible for 4 or 5 holy monument worlds to allow a supreme ancestor to give birth to a holy soul? That's impossible. With such a powerful soul as Yi Tian, if he wanted to completely transform his soul and give birth to a holy soul, he would probably need dozens of holy monument worlds, or even more. In other words, if there is no chance for the Holy Soul Realm, he is afraid that it will take endless long years to be able to give birth to the Holy Soul. I have to say, Yi Tian's luck is good, just happened to meet the opening of the original Ancestral Realm Holy Soul Realm. Chapter 14:20 The Ancestors Emerge. The Red Maple Sacred Realm's Sacred Monument World has no effect on Yi Tian. Yi Tian left the border and returned to the Zanzu Realm. He inquired about it, and the opening day of the Holy Soul Realm had not yet been decided. After all, tens of millions of years or even hundreds of millions of years are not much time for the supreme ancestors of the Holy Sect and even the first ancestors, it is just a time to doze off. In this way, several million years passed before the opening of the Holy Soul Realm was finally set. 8 million years later. This is the time set for now. At this time, the 10 major holy gates and a few holy places are preparing to send some supreme ancestors into them, but in fact many holy places are reluctant to send people to enter, because once the disciples fall, the loss will be heavy. And the possibility of such a fall is still very high. Although there are countless opportunities in the Holy Soul Realm, if you can't survive, it's useless to get more opportunities. Therefore 29, those holy places do not force their disciples to enter the Holy Soul Realm. If there are disciples who really want to enter, they will give them a quota. If they do not want to enter, they will not enter. Of course, if you are lucky, you can really get big benefits. But the odds of this luck are too low. In the blink of an eye, 8 million years have passed. On this day, the Fire Mark War Ancestor informed Yi Tian and the other supreme ancestors that the Holy Soul Realm was opened. Zanzuji, a world entrance. A huge warship was docked here. When Yi Tian came here, he felt the terrifying aura from the warship, as if mortals were facing a terrifying giant beast. Wanfa Yuzu, this is the Imperial-level warship of our war gate, the Qinglong ship. The power of this warship alone can reach the level of an invincible domain ancestor. It is a warship refined by the ancestors. It is said that it was forged from the bones of the supreme creatures, thus leaving a trace of coercion of the supreme creatures. Herring Yuzu introduced. So it is. Yi Tian muttered. Whoa whoa. A famous domain ancestor flew into this warship, and Yi Tian also entered the warship. They need to use this blue dragon ship to go to the original ancestor realm. The place where the primitive ancestral realm is located is not an ordinary place, but a very dangerous forbidden area. Even the ordinary invincible ancestors cannot go to the primitive ancestral realm, and they will fall in the forbidden area if they are not careful. Therefore, these supreme ancestors could not fly to the primitive ancestral realm at all, but if they took the Qinglong boat, they could easily reach the primitive ancestral realm. This time, a total of thousands of supreme ancestors went to the original ancestral realm in Zanmen, and every supreme ancestor was a leader. It is only the danger in the Holy Soul Realm, and it is more the danger from other forces. In the Holy Soul realm, there are no constraints, and the Supreme Power ancestors are afraid that they will often fight each other, so if their strength is not good, they will definitely fight when they meet the Supreme Power ancestors of other forces. Qinglong ship. The ancestors of the strongest domain sat cross-legged one by one, and suddenly heard the voice of the ancestors of the fire pattern. After entering the Holy Soul realm, you must pay attention to the supreme ancestors of the four holy gates, the Forbidden Holy Gate, the Dark Holy Gate, the Holy Gate of all things, and the Holy Gate of the sky. Once you encounter the supreme domain ancestors of these four holy gates, anyone who can be killed will be killed, and other disciples of the holy sect should also beware. You must not kill each other, understand? Yes, Lord Fire Mark Zanzu. Numerous supreme ancestors nodded. Soon, the Zonman's supreme ancestors crossed a long distance on the Blue Dragon boat and entered a forbidden area in the Dark Sanctuary, the original forbidden area. This primitive forbidden area contains terrifying murderous intentions. When the Azure Dragon ship entered here, countless murderous intentions bombarded the Azure Dragon ship, but they were all blocked by the Azure Dragon ship. It didn't take long for the Qinglong ship to enter the central area of the forbidden area. Here, a safe area has already been opened up by the ancestors. Soon, Yi Tian and others flew out of the Azure Dragon boat and landed in this safe area. Is that the original ancestral world? Yi Tian looked at an incomparably huge world in the distance. This world was bigger than the Zon ancestor realm, so it was naturally the primitive ancestral realm. However, this primitive ancestral realm is full of 3 cracks. These 3 cracks run through the entire primitive ancestral realm. Fortunately, the primitive ancestral realm is strong enough to not collapse. The aura of the primitive ancestral world is much stronger than that of the ancestral world, and the aura is extremely violent, giving people a huge amount of pressure. And the primitive ancestral realm does not seem to have any entrance, and does not even allow the detection of divine consciousness. Yi Tian's divine consciousness stretched over and was blocked by a terrifying force. This force seemed to surpass his cognition, and even one-step invincible domain ancestor would be difficult to tear apart this force. I'm afraid that only if there is no superior domain ancestor, or even the first ancestor, can you send us in. Yi Tian thought to himself. Zonman is not the first force to enter here, several other holy gates have already come. Afterwards, several more saint sect domain ancestors arrived. Then, the supreme ancestors of the Holy Land were also escorted by their supreme domain ancestors, but some holy places were not qualified to enter here. In the past few years, all the forces have come together. Turn it on. 623 unsurpassed domain ancestors spoke up. Everyone's tone was very bad. After all, they all had a fight not long ago, and even had the power to drop a lot of domain ancestors, who would have a good tone. Unexpected, a huge claw comparable to a small realm emerged, tearing the invisible barrier outside the original ancestral realm. When this claws appeared, those supreme ancestors all looked solemn, and they kept retreating, for fear of being affected. Ancestor. This thought occurred to everyone. Only the ancestors have such terrifying strength, and the other party should not be the ancestors of humanoid creatures. The ancestor of the Forbidden Saint. Yi Tian guessed. Then, another ancestor made a move, and the other party broke the world barrier of the original ancestor with one finger. Following that, a stick was inserted directly into the primitive ancestral realm, forming a passage that connected to the Holy Soul realm in the primitive ancestral realm. Let these juniors in, one after another filled with the voice of Supreme Majesty. This is the voice of the ancestors. Yes, many supreme ancestors responded. Before Yi Tian could react, a terrifying force supported him through the passage and entered the Holy Soul realm.